And we are recording. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope you're having a good weekend. As always, I am Brian Kynes, the creator of the Tales of Ulran campaign setting. We use Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, heavily homebrewed, to tell our story and play through it. And all the awesome folks that are joining me here this afternoon are here to help me write another chapter in the book. Bella is off this weekend. I've talked to her briefly about a couple little ideas and things that we're going to try to throw this way. She'll be with us, I believe, for Plan B, which is next weekend. But we wanted to continue this. We've got everybody on the same page. They know what they've collected so far inside of the Water Temple of Yeota. And now we're going to go ahead and push forward deeper into that. I've been looking forward to this, folks. This has been neat to see this kind of work out. And so far, I'm going to do dungeons like this from now on. The scroll papers, the graphics, the blacking out system that I'm using, I'm going to definitely do that. Before I get into all that crazy stuff, I'd like to go ahead and have you guys do your introductions. Let's just start crazy and start with Danny today.
We play in Bast. He's a version of a high elf, and he is also a man. I'm off today. He's a rogue. He's a rogue turned celestial warlock.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And both you're muted, so I'll go with Jeremy.
Jeremy, I'll be playing Merc, the human spirit paladin, who currently inhabits an angelic battle armor set.
Yes. Nicely done. And lastly, but certainly not least, Colby.
I'm Colby, and I'll be playing Kiltusk, who is his class is formerly known as Fierce Arrow, and which is a mix of a ranger and a barbarian. And he also has a beast companion named Loki, who is this creature that I'm using as my background.
Nice. Nice. Okay, so having introductions out of the way, let me go ahead and bring up where we left off last time. Okay? Let's go ahead and get this up here a little bit. And there we are. You guys are more than welcome to make that your central screen that you can see, or switch back and forth, however you want to do it. So we know that Brahmas was watching the entranceway to make sure that there were no shenanigans going on. Okay. We know that Silouan had just traveled up this direction, and she had interacted with this ivory and bone totem. Danny, how far had she made it? Did she put water into this, and how far had
she has a medallion? She has a medallion and purified water.
Awesome. So we know that she has an urn or a vase of some kind that has purified water in it as well. Okay. So Colby has a very well carved stone, some very fine granite with some kind of a metal in it, this impossibly crafted skull, and also one that seems to be made out of what might be gold. He has. You still have both of those on your person, Colby, or just one?
Yeah, I have both.
Okay, not bad. Okay, and then you, Danny, had collected this jade stoned looking skull down here.
Wrote it down as emerald.
Either way, you know what I mean? Because unless you're a stone cutter, maybe you can't tell the difference. I don't know, we've talked about it too much, but you know it's green, and it sure is pretty, and it would be hard to carve this way. So, having said that, you guys know where you've been. I will leave it up to you as to have a conversation to kick this back off and talk about where you are headed next within this ancient temple. Who would like to start off?
that's about it for this room, guys.
Did you find anything in here?
Yeah, I got a jade skull. He's got a gold skull, and we got another medallion and some water.
Silouan carefully starts to descend. She's on the highest platform of this place and begins to descend down to the rest of you. And she's carrying that stuff somewhat carefully. She looks over to you, Brahmas, and says, let me see how she does here. Natural 1. Bella, I'm making you proud, right? It's going good. Natural 1. As she's walking with that, she's filled the water up too much, and some of it begins to splash out as she starts to lose her balance on the stairway. She's trying too hard to do this too perfectly, is the issue. And as she does, that's really good, if a natural 16. Karsu walks up to her and catches her as a little bit of that water spills on the ground, making everyone just kind of hold their breath for just a second, but realizing it's just water slapping on the ground. Everything seems spooky in this place. You know what I mean? Breaking that silence and stuff. And she looks at her and says, it will be okay. My people reside here. Take ease. And she looks around to the rest of you. You don't know if she's trying to tell you that to convince you or to convince herself. With that, Silouan makes her way all the way down to you, Brahmas, and says, she peers out along your sides back into this one large central room, and she kind of just kind of smiles. She goes, well, I guess we came all this way so we could see what this place has to offer. And she just kind of nods. Colby, is Kiltus saying anything at this moment?
No, I think he'll still be trying to think about those diagrams of those gears he saw.
Awesome. And mind you, I think you mentioned something about that in the last episode. Go ahead if you would, please. Do you wish to tell the others what you found? Because you couldn't collect them because they were so brittle, but you were able to unroll them and put them out on that slab. So
yeah, we all looked at him, and Brahmas came in and looked as well, if I remember.
Oh, did he?
Yep. Yeah, because remember that Bast called you in because he's like, hey, gears and shit.
I don't recall. A little fuzzy from that last one. The powder outage kind of threw everything for a loop.
Okay. Which is fine. It's been a minute. So, we'll say that all these things happened in this central area here then.
Colby and Brahmas got a bonus to gear working. Bass looked at it and he's like, I understand the language, but it's hieroglyphics. It might as well be.
Right on.
Oh, that's right, because I used my archaeology to give me a little bit of a boost.
Yep, I remember that now. Very, very true. So, from there, Silouan has walked up to Brahmas, because you were the one that was watching the main door, Danny. You've been seemingly kind of leading in this place. Karsu has tried to give a little bit of hope and inspiration to everybody. And Colby seems to just be pondering, or Kiltusk pondering, what just happened and trying to make sense of everything and put it together. It's one thing, Kiltusk, that's interesting. This is done by your people. You see symbols and things in this place and the styling of this place is matching the stories that you've heard. You know what I mean? But this is more of the Morital than it is the Atlati. This is more of the clerical, more passive temple guardians and things that did this. You know, basically the same race, just a different sect of your people. But you just can't imagine how long this would have taken. There are things in here that just look impossible. You know what I mean? Especially for, I mean, you were outside. You're wearing bones and pieces of your enemy to put fear in them. You are old school and tribal. This almost feels foreign to you, but it does represent your ideals. It's a very strange thing. I just like for you to keep that in mind as we move forward, okay? Okay. So, with that, let me go ahead and group the group, so to speak.
Hey, Brian, real quick.
Yeah, Jeremy, what's up, bud?
Those cogs that we saw, were they of a metal make, or were they like primitive, like stone and twine, sticks and twine and stone, or
The cogs that you saw? Do you mean the plans that you were looking at?
Oh, I thought there was actual cog. Okay.
No, not in here. There was just, and I'll zoom in on the room. There were just these skulls that seemed to be carved. Now, there were no tools particularly in here that showed what had worked on them. But these plans showed some very interesting cogs. And then this one scroll that was very, very hard to undo. And I'm going to remind you of this, okay? It showed something that looked very similar to a seraphim. And that these gears were placed and interacted with them somehow. It showed some kind of union of these designs being used to engineer or awaken these to some degree. You guys had rolled some really good rolls on it, and you've never seen anything like that before. You've never seen a place on your body, in all the exploring that, Mercandal has done here over the years, to where Brahmas would be able to interact with ancient-made gears in that way. But sure enough, something depicting that was on these very brittle scrolls that were unrolled. Okay? So I'm going, as I'm grouping you together, ask whatever you would like, guys. I'm just going to move some pieces around here. And while I'm doing that, give me a marching order, please. Is it like Bast? Just behind him, just ahead of him?
Right there's good.
Okay, that's cool. Let's do Kill Tusk. Where would you like to be? I'm going to go ahead and put Karsu just here by Silouan. Like
Yeah,
this.
actually,
Would
where
you like
I'm
to
at
take it?
where I'm at right now is actually fine.
Okay, cool. Hey, easy enough, bud. Good deal. Okay. So with that, you guys move back into the central room, or is there anything else in here you want to explore first?
Go to the central room. I'm going to look at those two statues. They had jewels on them that were colored. One of them was green, so let's see if it matches with the skull.
Correct. So as you guys wander, or as the graphics would suggest, float, over to the magic carpet ride. Well, you would notice that the eyes on this one, the closest to you, seem to have a golden hue to them. Okay.
Tusk. Examine that one, see if yours fits. I'm gonna hop over to the other side and see what it's got. I know the other one has green eyes.
Okay, Kill Tusk, what do you do, bud? Well, you guys work it out. What are you doing here? I'll make it look and I'll let you see whatever. And as you look across here, Danny, do you choose to wade through the water, or are you going to hop across this 10 foot?
Hop across.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that just for shits and giggles, because we can. Danny, you would see that these do have some kind of green stone or illuminated green eyes of some type.
That hole in its hands, like right above its hands, would that a skull fit there?
Do an investigation or an insight.
In investigation,
Okay.
15 total.
Looks like it would.
I'm gonna slip it in there.
Okay. As you do. And Colby, are you doing this at the same time, or are you waiting to see what happens to Bastille first?
I'll do it at the same time.
Okay. To do that, give me a sleight of hand check. If you're trying to do it at exactly the same time. If you're just trying to put it in there, let me know.
8.
What did you get, Kill Tuscan?
21.
A 21. You were able to match the pace that Bastille is. You're able to follow his example very well with the 21 from the other side. And as you put the gold skull inside of that socket, and Danny, as you do the same, the etchings and things, the fine markings. If you remember when I zoomed in and showed that big picture, that big graphic of the skull on that match, on that parchment, some kind of energy. You don't know if it's spiritual, but it seems produced. You can't tell if this is some kind of energy or spiritual energy or something, but something seems to crawl around and trace out these letters on the skulls. And they trace in a brighter color of the selected type. So the gold one, there seems to be these golden like phantasmal lights that trace through all the intricate carvings, all the symbology that you've looked at before, Kiltusk. Danny, this is very much in the same way that Atlati's soul was tracing the markings on the wall when you encountered him before he sensed your presence. Has that same feel to it. Is that fair? Okay. And as this happens, you hear water underneath of your feet. You feel and sense the clanking of gears, and it's bigger than you would have thought. You know, for these to go in here in this way, the reaction that it's having, and this is all on your feet, under you, it's bigger, and it almost is a bit unnerving. Okay? As you do this, this is what you see. And let me get to it here, okay? Just a minute. Let me look and make sure I'm doing this the right way. This is room E.
I'm trying to get you to pack your bags. Sure. Are you picking them out?
Okay. You guys see a stone door rise in this space in the middle. And it comes into sight and looks like this. And as it does, it seems to cut off the passageway to the south.
She's trying to sleep. She comes
Okay.
in. She yells at me. She's like,
Just
Nope.
one moment here. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and now I have a graphic for that as well.
I don't know.
Just a minute. 1 second here. Maps and waterways. Empty water areas. Okay, and it looks like this, everyone. and it goes bear. Now, what's everybody thinking at this moment? In which direction are you headed now that this has happened?
But those stairs are open, but I'd almost like to clear some of this. I'm not sure whether to go forward or backwards.
Maybe
Let's
benefit is
discuss
to
it.
explore the rest before we head down.
I like it. Play with the chest before you go down. Good
June
plan.
goes first, and also we cannot do this.
Okay, so go ahead and mark off that you have used Jade or Emerald Skull and Golden Skull. Okay? Or Amethyst Skull. Because it looks more like a gemstone than it does a precious metal. It could be some rare form of yellow gem that you're not quite familiar with, Kiltusk. But either way, mark that those have been put into these positions. And with that, now that this can be walked across and it is hollow and bare, it's probably about a 3 to 4 foot drop into these channels. They're fairly deep.
Once the data downloads, I put the other one.
Okay, which direction would the group like to go? I will expand out a little bit and show you more of the room. If you have any questions.
Might as well cut the room to the left. Get them out in order, you think?
Over this way?
Yeah.
Okay, does the party agree with this?
Yeah.
As, as I'm crossing over that direction, having cut off that flow, does that statue look like it's changed at all?
It does not. Strangely enough. Would you like to roll more and spend a few moments here to investigate it?
No, I think I think I got a pretty good roll on it originally, just to kind of get an idea if it was a movable thing or not.
Boy, it sure looks like it could be. I mean, there are joints, but it's not nearly as complex as you are. Okay? To be fair.
Does it remind me of the giant thing that the dummy that they use for the giants? At all? In its
Okay, you
construction?
know what? With that, what kind of check would you like to see if there's a similarity between this and the ancient that dummy that Nadimus used in the city to fight against people?
I guess that would actually be insight, even though I got better bonuses to investigation.
Mhm.
Natural one. Man.
No, but
It's
it
big.
sure is cool looking. I mean, whoa. Right? So, yeah. I like it. All right, so the gang. Let's move you along here, shall we? In our marching group, are you in front, Danny, moving into this darkness over here? Or are you behind him? Or how do you guys want to line up? I'm going to leave these three the same unless Colby wants to change. But other than that, what's the marching order?
Fine. I'll go like that because I can kind of.
And the thing is, Brahmas can see over top of you too. He's a good foot or more taller than you. So Brahmas, you good with this, buddy?
Yep. Yeah, because I'm pretty confident at this point. There's not a whole lot behind us.
Okay.
So-
He kind of has that look. He's like, I can always misty step behind you.
Okay. So you're saying this to each other. Good. And mind you, I'll guide this through, but take a chance to say anything you want to interact with this room. Enjoy it, man. This is a book and you're writing it, guys. Okay? You guys make your way across. And you find yourself getting closer. Now, Dane, are you peering into the darkness from a distance first, letting everyone know what's going on?
Yeah, I'll definitely look through it.
And how is everybody moving? Is it? I'm gonna now, like I told you, I'll remind you once an episode. If you're stealthing, say it. If you're not, don't say anything. Were you guys just kind of walking up casually? It is a darkened area. You've had weird luck once so far. How are we moving along here?
I'm
just gonna
I'm
walk
moving
in.
slow but normal up
Yeah.
until we get a few feet within the door, and then it's going to be starting to kind of ease the steps a little bit.
Okay, roll me stealth. Danny, you do the same. Let me know what you get.
25.
A 25. I like it, buddy.
$17.
Not bad. Colby. Okay.
13.
13 for you, 19 for Silowin. Oh shit. Really? Yeah. And a 20 for Karsu. You guys are shadows. It's really, really good.
You allow me to activate, basically activate an overdrive to hold an action.
Yeah, but if you're doing that, I want you to roll stealth at disadvantage, because when you activate an overdrive, your body does light up to a degree. As I've shown in the graphic several times.
Second roll was a 21, so it's still 17.
Did you? Okay, so you are doing it then.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and give you your due here,
But
buddy.
basically, I'm wanting to hold an action for Sacred Flame. That way, if something decides to pop up and say boo, everybody's going to see it.
Hell yeah, dude, I like it. And is there anything from before that is still affecting? And here's your aura I'm getting ready to put on you here, Jeremy. I love that shit. That's cool. Only in Ulran. Is there anything that you guys still have a long-lasting effect? Has anyone got inspiration from Silowin still, or anything like that in their back pocket?
Got the blessing from Brahmas from earlier.
Okay, so keep that in mind, and if you need to use it, let me know, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and show the room. Here's what you see, Danny, ahead of you. You see another Atlati spirit in a darkened corner, tracing out more lines against the wall.
Is it back facing us?
Yes. With that light, he is looking up, and he is not turned around yet, but he has stopped. In that instant, Danny, as if he has sensed something, as the light that it would follow his hand traces to it and stops, and you start to see, you feel this eerie tension as if it's a moment in a scary movie, right? When his head starts to turn slowly towards you, you can see through the faded and the ghostly-like image inside of this ancient Takari armor that it's wearing. Your front line, what are you doing?
Free action. He's going to tell them, throw his hand up to stop for them.
Okay.
Crouch down, and I'm going to stealth my way over closer to him.
Okay. Roll initiative.
26.
And it's just going to be you and him right now, okay? Because you've told everyone else to kind of stop, unless they choose to do something else. Now, he's given the hand up to, hey, everyone just kind of hold their position. What are you guys doing? Silowin would have her lance out and be getting ready for something. Karsu would be standing back behind Brahmas, just kind of peering along the side of him. What are you doing, Brahmas, as Danny holds his sign up?
Oh, Brahmas has got that energy just welling up in that arm.
You have held action. You have held action. I'll let you roll initiative too. Okay.
If that thing turns around and says boo, that's the end of it.
Okay. He goes, enough of the nonsense. Colby, with that, you choose to hold your position, or are you going to try to circle around to get a better angle as to what Danny and them may be looking at. As of right now, you don't have a clear shot to see what's up ahead, but you see everybody stopping and preparing.
I'll try to get a better angle.
Okay, and to do that, which direction would you like to go, sir?
South, so I can also see like if anything comes down the stairs as well.
Okay, you can also roll initiative. We'll just go ahead and have everybody do it in this instance then, because everyone's taking measures. Jeremy held an action cleverly. Someone's got her lance out because of Danny's sign. You have just a moment there. This thing's turning. You feel your heart beating in your chest, Danny. Go ahead and tell me what you guys
It's turning. Sorry, I didn't realize it's turning.
Yeah, I said that, didn't I?
Oh.
I thought you said it was facing the wall, but it stopped what it was doing and it hadn't turned around.
Well, and remember I say it's starting to move its head and he can see through the face.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, in that case,
just so I remember it, initiative right, it's what the question mark is whatever I'm going to use, right? Like the attack addition.
I'm sorry. Ask your question again, boss. I'm sorry.
When I like put something in for that question mark for basically because I'm going to use my bow, do I add the attack bonuses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I got 36.
Hold on.
Modifier.
Okay, hold on.
Modify?
No. I know what you're asking. No. Let's
say,
I did the math. I did the math, and like,
okay.
that's probably not right.
Here's the way your initiative works. So you're planning on getting a better aim. Do you have your bow out? Or are you getting ready to cast a spell, or what's your plan?
I got my bow out. Yes.
Okay. So it's going to be your dexterity because you're attacking with something stealth. It's going to be your proficiency bonus.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's going to be a 1d20 roll.
Okay.
And if you have anything, any skills towards, I forget what the name of the skill is, but makes you have a chance, foresight. If you have skill points on foresight, that will help you as well. And that's what you're going to use.
Yeah. So see, like me, I got D20 plus 8, and then I'm casting a spell, so a plus 4 because of my modifier.
There you go.
Okay, then.
I was to say, damn, he got an initiative like Danny gets stealth.
No shit, I know, right?
I know. I was like, that is way too high for some reason.
What'd you end up with, boss?
All right, so then, okay, that'll be
1d20 plus your dexterity modifier plus your proficiency bonus or any skill points you have to that skill at foresight.
I have foresight. Okay, I got 3, so that is another. That would be 27 with foresight.
27. Okay. Still pretty damn good. Jeremy, what did Brahmas get, buddy?
30-20.
That's not bad for a big old freaking Alexander castle. I like it. Danny, can you hear me? Danny cannot hear me. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down here. Let me do a few more rolls here. Just for the hell of it, roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8, Jeremy. Let's know how Silliman does.
$21.
21. Beat your ass. She's terrible about that, isn't she? Even back in the bar when she was doing the bar games with you, she just has to one-up you every damn time.
Quite literally.
One up.
But
Okay,
the held action will go off before initiative takes over, wouldn't it? I guess it depends. If it goes before me and gets hostile, then yeah, my held action go off. But if it doesn't go hostile until after my turn, then yeah, I'm gonna use it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably gonna use it anyway. But
Okay, so, oh, dude, he did not do well. Damn, natural 4. Let me roll a dice.
that's my thing. Is unless this thing shows it's gonna be hostile, I don't really want to mess with it.
Okay, Danny, what's your initiative, bud?
it was 26.
Nicely done.
That sounds all right.
You know, I mean, for Danny, I mean, shit. All right.
18. plus.
One day, guilt will get the better of you, Danny, and you'll become a good guy. All right. So, having said all that, in this moment of tenseness, as it is turning around, it is moving very slowly. Danny, I know you may be surprised by this, but Kiltusk goes first. That happened. Oh, he got slapped. He got slapped. All right, I had to do it. Okay, look at dude. He just won D&D. Colby just won D&D. It's over. All right, buddy.
You can't win in D&D. Right.
All right, buddy. What is Kiltusk doing? I will let you go ahead and move. You said south, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to move you, and you tell me. I'm going to count the movement. Now, are you wanting to go straight down? You got 5, 10, and right there, you can perceive and see something, but it has partial cover.
All right.
You want to move. You've only used 10 foot of movement.
Yeah.
You want to go in? You want to go angled? Where you want to go? If you say like 4 to the left and 1 up, whatever works.
Will going in make me be able to see it more clearly and not have, and it won't have partial cover?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's say you were here. Let's go ahead and say you went 5, 10, 15, 20. And I'm going to say Danny is kind of stooped down just enough where you can see over top of Danny with your bow drawn. And you can see this thing pretty clearly at this point without any thing. And just for graphic pleasure there, you're in front now. It's all about how I stack these. So when you guys keep moving, I have to keep moving them in order. But yeah, it's cool though. It's cool. So yeah, you have a clear shot or a look at this thing as it is, hand is on the wall and it is just slowly beginning to look that way. What do you do, sir?
I'll use my bonus action to do an overdraw shot.
Okay, go ahead and use your bonus action. Roll your dice and tell me what you get.
I got 11, so that makes it, but there won't be any bonuses. Well, only half dice, half bonus.
And what was your roll again?
11. So I beat the standard. And only get half plus half the dice roll damage.
Okay, so you're taking a overdraw shot, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead and take your shot. Roll your d20 and add your stuff, and tell me what you get.
All right.
Danny, I don't know if that's good or just bad. Your face isn't telling a true story there, boss. Now, mind you, she's right there so she can slap you.
Well, this is Riley's friend makes like jams and jellies. Like her little side business thing, little kid. Mm-hmm. So it's pepper jelly with cream cheese and crackers, and it is fantastic.
I'm gonna have to take your word for that shit. I don't know. All right, moving on. We're gonna get back to it. What was your attack roll, sir?
Natural 20.
A natural 20.
Let me set it down here somewhere.
Okay. Roll your damage. Your dice are ×2. Or I will give you the option of doing something special. You can take your 20 and you can store it up and possibly gain a legendary action by storing up natural 20s and keeping them instead of using them now. So you can either use it now or you can keep it and use it for something later.
I'll use it for something later.
Okay. Right now you have 1 natural 20 stored. But I will go ahead and give you the hit. I just will not give you the double damage. Go ahead and roll your damage of this hit plus your bonuses, and tell me what you get, and tell me what it looks like.
It's like it looks like an arrow, Brian.
It does.
He's not paying attention.
I know. It's fine.
My sarcasm is lost on the young.
I know. It's all good. I respect it. Eat your damn pepper jam, you weirdo. All right. Good. What's your damage, boss?
Do we roll up or down?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Cause the overshot draw beat the DC by 1. I get half of the damage dice only added.
Okay.
So, and I rolled a 7. So would that be?
It's usually round down on things of this nature.
Okay. All right. So then it would be
10.
What?
7
10.
plus half is 10.
All right, then it'll be plus 6 because of the damage bonus. Yeah. So then that would be 16.
Awesome. 16 points of damage, and the arrow flies through. Are your arrows magical?
I don't know. Probably not.
Okay. As you shoot, it soars through, and it soars through the shoulder area of this thing. And as it does, it's almost like you throw your hand through the smoke of a campfire. As it goes through the creature, as it does that, it continues to turn around unfazed by your arrow attack as you hear that arrow slam and stick hard into the stone wall back behind on the other side. Now what are you doing?
Alright.
By the way, Danny, you're up next, and then it will be Silouan, then Brahmas.
Do I know if that chameleon?
Or sooner, maybe.
Did I keep the chameleon, or did we leave it in the statue?
You're not sure. Are you thinking about looking for it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Danny freaking scared my character, and I don't know where it went.
What did I scare you away from? Oh yeah. Chameleon. It's part of it. You can
Listen,
use it.
I gotta say this. I want to get back to the action. The whole idea behind that, there was this old Richard Pryor sketch where he was going up to some voodoo chick to ask her a question, and he was in her shop, and a spider jumped out, and he was borrowing money off her or something like that, and the spider jumps out and crawls on him, and he lost it. He goes, "Where'd that spider go?" And that woman says, "You don't come back with my money, you're gonna find out." Right? And that skit was one of my favorites, and so you can thank Richard Pryor for you having that run wild on you, buddy. So
okay,
let's go.
I'll try to look for it.
Okay. Let's go and take your action. Go ahead and roll an investigation check.
All right. Wow, my dice love me. Another natural 20.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what kind of crap shit Danny's been mailing you, but we can do this. As you do that, and you are searching out for that chameleon on your body, when you are reaching along and feeling it, as you do, all of a sudden you feel something crawl out of your poncho. And as your hand is going up like this, you feel it jump down and crawl down the arm that is holding the bow. Okay? And as it crawls down, it's going to take the rest of this turn, but here's what it does. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
It crawls out onto the edge of your bow, blinks its eyes, takes its tongue, flap, and sticks its tongue from one end of that bow to the other. All right, like when you see like lizards getting flies and shit. And when it does, you see it start to draw up, right? And you see the bow start to shrink. Okay? And as that string falls off of that bow and becomes disconnected, because that thing is sucking in the sides of this with its tongue, and it has pulled the tension off that bow, as that string falls off of its impressions on there, that chameleon starts to shift, and that winding starts to come around it and stuff like that, and you have what looks like some kind of spider web-ish wound string that it has kind of evolved into, that is now bridging the gap on your bow. It seems to be a little bit more taut, and it seems to have a new string on it as your old string lays on the ground in front of you. It has restrung your bow with itself.
All right.
So he can't shoot arrows this round now.
Well, I mean, you use your bonus action, then you use your major action to activate that. Yeah, that's pretty much it, unless you want to use a surge of some kind or anything else like that. I don't know what your options are.
I don't think
I don't know. I think I need one of those chameleons.
Well, there was only one, Jeremy.
And his name was Duncan McLeod.
That's right. His name was Duncan McLeod. Is that the end of your turn, or are you moving anywhere else, bud?
I think that's the end.
Okay. Remember, your old string is laying down on the ground. Okay? Keep that in mind. All right. Next up, Bastille.
All right, because no enemy has taken action against me yet, I can gain advantage due to the old assassin kit.
Correct.
And I am going to dash over and use the sneak attack.
Okay. Shazoom!
With advantage, and it's just a single dagger sneak attack. He's just trying to get in there quick. With advantage, that would be a 30 to hit.
A 30 hit. Is this dagger magical?
Yeah, it's the celestial daggers.
Very nicely done. Make sure to call that out and tell me. I don't know if you have plain ones or not, so make sure to let me know, okay? So that is, go ahead and roll for your damage. The breaching attack.
5.
And you'll notice that it's not like this thing, you're actually breaching actual armor. If you make contact with it, you make contact with it. It is a construct of ghostly essence. It's otherworldly. So it looks this way, but it is not actually armored.
4 plus 7. 31.
31. As you do and you poke that through there, it starts to fade apart, but it is still holding together, as you can hear signs that it's weakening. You can hear from it, you can hear okay, go ahead. That was your first attack, and your it was how many feet of movement? I'd say that was probably about 10 foot of movement. What's next, Danny? You're muted, sir.
That's weird. 26 to hit, and damage would be a 12.
A 12?
12 for damage, 26 to hit.
Okay, 26 does hit and breaches. And for that 12 points of damage, it goes through. And if that, it is barely holding on. As the second shot goes through. Now this is radiant damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that, the apparition breaks apart. Paint me a picture as to what you do, and I'll tell you what it looks like.
As he comes up, the first was a stab, and when he doesn't see it fall, it was a slash, and it's quickly followed up by another one, even as it's fading, and he was chambering for a third by the time he realized it was gone.
Okay. As that happens, the creature was turning around and it had another one of those, almost looks like some kind of large club with the serrated squares on it. And it was turning around, and you could see it dragging the ground, and its hand just comes open. As when it drops that club, it just turns into nothing more than just a cloud of smoke and dissipates. Almost like a cloud losing its shape in the distance, right? And as you go through that, you just hear this sigh come out of the creature.
Go in peace.
And as it does, there is nothing left behind, and what little smoke there is left from it, or this phantasmal essence, seems to seep and suck back down into the cracks and crevices of the floor, and is gone. Let me make the adjustment on here. Just a minute. That is spirit number 2. Spirit number 2 is no more. From there, you see Danny put 2 pretty stealthy hits on this thing, Jeremy. As your held action now, are you still going to hold on to that and keep your overdrive alert as there's more exploring to do? Or what would you like to do here?
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to it as long as I can, just in the event that I need it.
Just for the fun of it, I'll let you keep concentration if something crazy happens. Just for the hell of it, you roll me and a constitution check. I just want to know how Merc is doing controlling this and keeping that spell up at the same time. And this would be for withholding concentration on a spell. That's more of a Merc thing than it is a Brahmas thing. He's performing the act of it, but you're controlling that. It'd be for Merc, I believe.
If anybody chooses to sponsor us, we're like fantastic.
Right on.
I rolled a 19 natural, so
you're good. You feel with Danny being able to, or sorry, Bastille, immersion, everyone, immersion. Being able to fail that creature that easily, that you have no problem controlling that. Okay? So, with that, Danny, you see a long stairway that seems to go up somewhat steeply. You believe it would lead to that platform that goes across the central part of the room. It would be the way to get across and go the other direction. You have that option to continue this path. You can go to the south and see what happens when the water has been drained. You also have the other multiple areas on the other side of the room. Or this will lead across to a chamber on the far side to the right. You guys have all kinds of options. Where are you headed?
I'm going to head up the stairs, and I'm going to be kind of stealthy as I do. Kind of keep that distance that we've got so I'm not in the glowing light this time.
Okay. If a conversation needs to be made, go ahead and have it. And if not, I will move the group with Danny in the lead, if that's okay. Good enough. That's funny. That's good stuff. I'll play with one hand. All right, so let's go ahead and move the gang up that direction.
Most guys do. It takes somebody special to use too.
I know, and you know,
it's a shame I never decided to play a druid, but I can just pop in.
Right on. Yeah, right. Hand puppets. I like it. So as you get up here, you notice that this old wooden thing is an okay shape, but you all fear that it may not be in Brahmas plus others type shape. Is that fair? It is one of the very few things that is wooden and remaining with stone at the base. So, having said all that fun stuff,
I'm going to hop up on the, because the edge of a bridge, like the bracing itself, tends to be stronger. And Brahmas, can you do this? And he hops up on the ledge and walks across.
Okay, just a minute. Let me move around some things here. Remove Kill Tusk. Okay, and I'll move the whole group back. Okay, so you do go ahead and give me a acrobatics check, Danny.
29.
29. You hop up, and your theory is correct. It seems like there's a bit more heft to this, but you do hear particles falling off the underside of this as they clank and echo through this place, some hitting into the water, sounding like stones that are being thrown down to it in silence. And that's with just you.
Promise you're going to have to go last on this, buddy, if you can make it.
Never was a big fan of wooden bridges. I'm not worried about the fall. But I am worried about that happens to be our way further and it gets broken. We might be in trouble.
I'd say you're probably 30 foot up, looking out over the water, and you're damn near eye to eye with the large statue over here that you were witnessing earlier.
Well, let me see.
So,
just a second. I have got to look to see if it'll work.
Okay, go ahead. Colby, if you have anything to add to this, let me know now.
I would actually have Kilta say to the group, I may be able to reduce the amount of people walking across, at least at this time.
Okay. Do me a favor. Do me a what's a roll, Jeremy, that would be for him to have remembered something, like a recall something.
I would think it'd be a wisdom check.
Okay.
Or maybe even just history.
Okay, Colby, roll me a wisdom check, please. Tell me what you get for Kill Tusk.
$19.
Mm-hmm. You did remember to pick up your bowstring.
All right.
All right. So, what is your plan now that you've said this to everybody? What is it you're planning on doing here, Kill Tusk?
Use my blink arrow and shoot myself across.
Okay. How many times can you use blink arrow a day?
Well, essentially allow me to grab one off the Bazillion before we entered.
So you have one?
Yeah, I'm basically kind of reusing one because you allowed it.
Okay. And that will be the last one that you have unless you either make more or collect the other ones or things of that nature, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead if you choose to, and you may use your blink arrow. And I suppose you are shooting... Now here's the thing. Are you shooting over here on these ledges? Are you shooting up at the ceiling? Or are you shooting deep into this darkened room and seeing what happens when you get over there? I'm very curious. And if you do miss...
When he goes to draw it, Bast goes, wait, let me get over there and look.
You guys discuss it.
Besides, if the bridge holds me, it'll hold you.
But who knows if it will hold... Who knows if it will hold promise after all of us walk across it?
So, I believe Kill Tusk's thing is about the wear and tear on the bridge. And Danny is talking about the other side of that, where if it's stable enough for one, it shouldn't degrade. So, two very good points. I'll let you all discuss which one you want to go with. Both of very clever insights into this, but you decide what you want to do. Hey, take your time. We're recording. It's no big deal. Take your time. Shit.
Let me get over. If I cross it and it holds, it should hold either of you. I'll hop back and forth to see which side feels more stable on the bracing.
And what do you say? Kill test?
Yeah, but if you are hopping around and we all copy the same thing, it could just degrade the wood even quicker, because I don't even remember the last time anybody has been in this temple, or even been on this bridge.
Can any of you levitate?
Silowin says to you, I don't think I'll make too much of an impact on it if I cross. I should only have to touch it maybe once. And with her insight being a natural 17, what she is suggesting is for her to get across, she can bound once and jump in the central part of it where she sees that there's a pillar holding it up in the middle of that water. Focus her hit there, jump across. I'll have her do an acrobatics check for it. And she looks over at Brahmas, and she kind of grins because she knows how you're going to take this shit. She goes, what if maybe you don't have to come across this time? What if we can handle it? I'll be fine. That's a very Bella thing to say in this situation, I believe. So she's suggesting, not every room needs all of us in it, and she doesn't want to endanger you. She's trying to protect you in a way, which you guys have this back and forth. So yeah, I'll take that as what Bella's doing.
You see Brahmas cross his arms doing this. You lot go ahead across.
The other option is if you can walk out, Merc, you can cross there. I don't know what you can accomplish outside of Brahmas.
We'd have to move incredibly quickly.
Okay.
I don't have long outside of Brahmas.
She's inciting you to see how pissed off you are at her. 13. You can either try to beat that with a deception, or you can tell me what she sees from Brahmas's body language and the tone of your voice.
No, what she would see is her words actually kind of confirming his thoughts.
Oh, cool.
Because he had originally thought that, walking out of Brahmas might have been a thing to do, but since he's so limited on time, it would be one of those, which is, he would voice it as everyone else get across. If you need me, I can rush to your aid. I don't have to cross with Brahmas.
When you say that, her eyes light up. She had not considered that. And she goes, I won't make that necessary. I got this. And she turns around and she leaps, not waiting for Danny to go first. Natural 16 on the first one. She lands into the middle. Colby, I need you to roll me a 1d20. And then I need you to roll me, because of her check, I need you to roll me a 1d6 to take off of that roll. Just saying. Okay, Colby, did you roll the numbers?
Yeah. The D20 was a 9, and the D6 was a 4, so...
Oh, that's great. So, when she lands there in the middle, it holds steady. Very few stones and pieces of rubble and stuff splash and roll down that central pillar and lands into the water below as Silowin makes it halfway across. And when she lands, it looks good. She kind of uses her lance as a vault, and when she was coming down, you saw her stick her one wing out, and she kind of lands with her arms kind of down as it helped her fall. And she lands and she turns back and looks at you, Brahmas, and just kind of gives you a wink. Well, one more time. And she turns around and she gets down and she goes for it again. Damn, dude, rolling aces, natural 18. Even better. She comes across and she lands over here, and from that distance, you hear nothing fall into the water on the far side as she lands over here. Now, just 1 second, and I'll move on to the rest of you, okay? I have to check something. A dragon comes out of the darkness and eats Silwyn.
Sweet, I'm running. Dragons are bad.
I'm running! Hold on.
Fuck it, you guys
like
are on
Chevy Chase. Sharkogram. Just, whoa!
That'd be a bridge be damned moment.
Yeah. Oh, shit, right?
Oh, Indiana Jones.
Because you're running towards
bridge.
Bast is like, nope, dragon, I'm out, fuckers.
Kelsos will be like, I thought worse.
That's fact. Oh, it's H. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. Okay. Oh, cool. Yep, you're good. She lands. Nothing jumps out to get her. And she stands over to the side, eager to see how the next person does, with a grin of accomplishment on her face. I got your back, Belly. You're fine. All right.
Bill Tusker, you convinced you want to try this arrow thing?
I mean, how hard is it to hit a wall?
If it shatters your arrow, that's it for the day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a stupid plan, but let me get across there.
I love stupid plans.
I seen
All right.
Drayden catch one once. How hard can it be?
Oh, you goofy fucker. Okay. No, I think it's going to be great. I love it, man.
But you also,
Unnecessary damage is a DM's dream. Please, Danny. Please try to catch that arrow. Go ahead and go across here, boss. What are you doing and how? Paint me a picture.
He's just gonna get up on the edge and run right across.
Okay, I'm going to need you to, if you're running, I need you to roll me 2 stealth checks. Tell me what the first one is.
29 for the first one, and a 23 for the second one.
Okay, so now, Jeremy, once you roll me a 1d20, and then subtract from that a 1d6, and tell me what you get. I hope this is shitty. I can't help it. Oh.
As a 2 on the D20 and a 1 on the D6.
So 1. And with that, Danny, it's like you didn't even touch it. Well done. It's like the other direction's the bad direction. So you did good. Okay. And you said this one was a what, Danny? What'd you roll for
20,
this leg of it? Was it higher
20,
or lower than the last one?
23. It was lower, but...
Just a little bit lower? Okay. This time, Jeremy rolled me a 1d20 minus a 1d4. His face. I can't tell. I can't tell. What did you do?
An 11 and a 2.
So a 9. Okay. As you dart across this time, Danny, as soon as you take off, you feel unstable on this railing. Okay? As you dart across, you see the rungs of a couple pieces of it break off and land on the concrete down below. And a few pieces land in the water, but you are able to make it safely across. But maybe someone else shouldn't run on that railing again, as you do make it to the other side. Once you do, and now, it's the thing, see, right now, you're behind her, and all I got to do is just do that. And now it's the way it should be. So now that you're on the other side, boss, what are you doing? Are you peering in here? Are you focusing on him? Tell me the situation.
Quick peek over his shoulder, make sure nothing's on his back. And then he'll motion for him to shoot once he gets a quick peek behind him.
Okay, did you use Devil's Sight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you peek back behind you, I will describe it to you, but I will not show too much. You see a large empty space, but you see some form of a figure just outside of your range. It is either a giant creature or a giant statue, but there's something in there that stands silent. It's a little bit deep, you know what I mean? You're going in there at like a range like this, you know what I mean? Around the doorways. So you could step in and get a better look at it if you'd want. But from where you're at, you can tell there's something in there to the north, but it's not moving.
He looks to him and says, go ahead and shoot. And Brian, what he's going to do is he's got that elven cloak. And the notes I have is elven cloak said to stop arrows. Bast rolled a 5 above the arrow's roll and was able to return the arrow with 1d6 plus lightning. But I'm not trying to return it. I'm just trying to stop it. But I don't know how it works, so we'll give it a shot.
Okay, do me a favor. Arcana check. I'll tell you how it goes.
That would be a 15 plus 10, 25.
Okay.
It'll be a whole Wile E. Coyote sort of movement.
Okay.
Well,
you have
Vaster gave him this cloak to test, and he's only tested it once. Well, he tried once with a ballista bolt. That didn't work out well.
Nope, did not. Kill Tusk. This crazy sun elf, this crazy elf of the sun and sky, is asking you to shoot him. What do you do?
Well,
your world, buddy. Your world.
Kiltus remembers that supposedly that this chameleon thing, when wrapped around his bowstring, can make his arrows invisible. He's gonna take that off real quick and put it on his old bowstring.
Okay. So, when you are doing this, I want you to roll me an animal handling check.
Okay.
To get the string off of the bow and see how you work out with your new buddy.
I wonder if you could will it just not to make it invisible. Don't try it while you're shooting at me, but it's a good point.
You know, there's this really interesting thing that people usually have to do with magical weapons to get really good with them called attunement. We haven't done that yet. So we're
15.
just grabbing at stuff. What is it here, buddy? What'd you say?
15.
A 15. Jeremy, I would like for you to roll me a 1d20 and tell me what you get. Got a 3. You manage it just fine. As you are going to shorten up the bow and you would take the draw out of it in that moment, you would see color and things, and that webbing, that mummification start to spin off of the creature as once you have the stress off of it, it retracts its tongue, crawls back down around it, and crawls up onto your body and disappears.
Alright.
Now you're restringing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's Tenosha crabs.
I'll go ahead. Oh, all day. Oh, yeah. Tenoshan crabs. It's terrible. It's plague. Go ahead. You have restrung your bow. Right. What are you doing?
Shooting my blink arrow at Danny now.
Roll for attack. If you do an overdraw shot, I'm going to fucking love you to death. Go ahead, and what was your roll, bud?
Nat 20 again.
Okay. Plus bonuses is what?
32.
Okay. So Danny.
He's not trying to dodge, so all that goes out the window. He's trying to use that cloak and focus.
Okay.
That was his plan. So.
What's your armor class? What's your armor class primary?
31 normally, but that goes down quick when you take out parry and evasion.
Yeah. But you have the cloak at the ready, correct? You're holding an action to possibly use that cloak. With the Arcana check as high as you made it, this arrow seeks and hits straight into you. It hits the cloak. And tell me what the cloak is said to do in this instance.
The last time he did it, it stopped the arrow like right in the air before him and returned it. But he's only managed it once. It says Elven Cloak said to stop arrows. Bast rolled 5 above the arrow's roll, and then a 1 on a 1d4, and the arrow returned plus 1d6 lightning. That's the only thing I know about it.
Okay. Roll me a dexterity check at disadvantage.
Okay, with disadvantage would have been 11 plus... is that just dex bonus, no proficiency, or with proficiency? Because the saving throw is with
proficiency, you're proficient with dexterity. Go ahead and roll me that.
All right, so that 11 would have been a 21.
Okay, here's how this looks. You're thinking as soon as that sucker comes at you, you're going to flash that cloak. That arrow stops. You're going to grab it real quick before it has a chance to do anything. That's your plan, right? That's the plan. But this thing really come at you. And as it was flying with a natural 20, this thing hits, goes through the cloak. You receive half damage instead of none, as that 20 seems to surpass what the cloak is able to accomplish. As that happens, you roll that check because you're so ready for it. You know, you're ready to swing at that baseball, right? That thing hits you, thud. It's almost like you don't even have a chance to feel the impact before your hand goes out and grabs that, right? So the arrow sticks in you. Colby, roll your damage so I know to give him half. Okay? All right? And as you grab that arrow, Colby appears in front of you on the other side. But it is buried halfway into you. What was your damage, Colby?
13.
13?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 7. Oh, sorry, 6. It always rounds down. Yep. Colby, you appear in front of him, and you automatically, you're kind of like, ooh! You know what I mean? You weren't expecting to have the trifecta of 20s as you land right in front of Danny. And as you do, you see the arrow stuck in Danny. It's now just starting to your eyes widen, and you're closer to Danny than you've ever been. And you can see the grimace on his eyes as his face is covered in this. And you can see the reality that Danny has this thing stuck in him. You are there now. What are you two discussing?
Hold back, and he did you. But he's still holding it like it's pretty close.
Okay. I mean, I guess in D&D this is a win. I mean, yeah. How we getting the arrow out, guys? Who's doing that?
You're just lucky enough that you were able to see the arrow.
Jerk it out. I know he's going to take damage, but...
Sure he is. Medicine check.
Oh, well, I've got 0 in that, so...
Uh-huh.
And a whopping 6 on the roll. That sucks.
Uh-huh. What sucks is the way this feels. You're doing this. Colby, or would you like to assist him and give him advantage on this medicine check as he's trying to pull this arrow out and guilt overwhelms you?
Oh shit, I am proficient in wisdom now. I never marked that down. Well, can't use it this time.
Okay. Colby, what are you doing?
I'll assist him.
Okay. Roll with advantage. Danny, give me one more roll. If it's lower, just fucking, yeah.
17.
17 is much better. You take 3 more points of piercing damage, half of what it was, as it comes out. Total of 9. And you are, you're bleeding. You're a maple tree, sir.
I'm going to try something. I've never used it on myself, but I'm going to use Healing Light. This is one creature you can see, and since I can see myself...
Hey, good call.
I'll use 1 die and give myself a D6.
Make sure to adjust your magic points accurately.
This one doesn't. It's Healing Light, the warlike ability that he got for Celestial class.
So it's just a free, you can use it all the time, or is there limits?
I have 1 plus my warlock level of dice, and they're D6s.
Oh, like a pool of healing, like a paladin. I get you, buddy. Okay. Just keep it recorded, all right? Colby,
right.
You made it
They
to
give
the
me
kill
5
test.
back.
Go ahead, Danny.
They gave me 5 back, so I have a total of 11 done to me because I had damage previously.
Okay. At that moment, I want to tell you a little something over here, Brahmas. With that, Karsu walks up beside you. Okay? In a very soft voice, she says to you, she goes, "You need not worry. If I sense danger or something happens, I think I have enough strength to get you across." And as she begins to levitate herself, as she closes her eyes and opens them back up, and they appear to be white, she lifts up and her hair goes down and her arms extend, and she floats over this bridge like a ghost. Not like transforming into a ghost, but levitating over top of. And it's this inner psychic power that she has, that she can use in limited amounts. And she glides across and makes it to the other side. From that, she's suggesting she might be able to help you be lighter as well. It's kind of what she's going on with that, if need be. Brahmas, buddy, you're all alone. What are you doing? I'll give you a moment. And you're still holding that sacred flame, right? Which has a range of what? Is it 90 or 120?
60.
60, okay. You could probably... you could probably hit round the other side of this thing. I'd say it's about 60 foot long, okay? So, with that, is there anything you're saying to the other ones as you're standing there by yourself and you're watching them make their move on the other side?
He's going to nod. He's not going to holler out across it because he doesn't know what's in that room.
Okay.
He's not trying to garner a bunch of attention with a big echoey voice.
I like it. Okay, Danny? What are we doing? You seem to be in the lead. Stealthing in. Roll me stealth checks. Colby, roll me stealth check.
It's 27.
What was it?
27.
27, okay.
I have expertise in stealth.
Of course you do.
Hey, I got 4 skills that have expertise. And
okay, actually, awesome. Just send me that email document. Just email it to me. Just print off how many pages it takes to justify your bonus of 20, and I will review your documents, and my lawyer will get back a hold of you.
It's in the basic rogue kit.
It is. It's extremely basic. No, I get it. You see here. H. Okay. As you begin to go in here with your basic rogue kit, which is awesome, the room reveals itself. Danny, since you were the one to go in here, I will have you read T13. Just one second. I'll make it big enough here where you can see it, and I'll zoom in on it, okay? Just a moment.
As you enter the upper chamber, a tall Atlati statue comes into view. Stone warrior glares down at the empty floor below it, his spear pointing at the vacant area almost expectantly. Etched into the warrior's shield appears to be a series of ancient Atlati markings that resemble those created by Kiltusk and his kind.
Okay. So, as that happens, what is the group doing when they walk in here?
I'm going to look and see if there's a place for a medallion on this statue.
Okay. As you walk up that way, Kiltusk, I need you to do a history check for me.
Nine.
Okay. This seems to be a depiction of a great and ancient Atlati warrior of some kind, wearing a poncho that looks like the fabled Quetzalcoatl, or as we've been calling it, the Quetzalcoat. Okay? With the beak prominent, the large plumage and feathers coming off the back of the head. And this particular warrior seems to be a speared warrior. It's interesting. You guys don't wear stuff that's this formal and well made anymore. This would have to be someone of a very high order to have things that are crafted and look this well done. As a matter of fact, the best stuff that you've seen, even the stuff that Shakoma wears, that's meant to look like the Terrachua or the Tarask, seems somewhat primitive compared to what this person has on. I mean, he has the feathers. It's not just a poncho that is symbolizing the beast and causing that fear into creatures. Because you know, ponchos are meant to make you take on that thing's presence to those that you're fighting, right? This thing has the feathers coming off the back of the arms. This thing has feathers and wings that come down the back of the legs. This whole thing's body is like a poncho. It is a complete ornament outfit that is supposed to look like a Quetzalcoatl on this statue-like thing. Now, this isn't like other statues. This isn't something that is has all the joints and things as the seraphim looked like it did earlier. With a 9, that's what you see. That's observant, but it's not telling you much of a story about it. Okay? As the group walks into the room, there is something that happens. Danny, as you go up, you are looking for a place for a medallion. Roll me an investigation check, please.
Natural 19.
There is not anything that looks like a crevice or an opening that would hold a medallion per tell. But with a natural 19, you can see, there is some kind of message, instructions, or some kind of tale done in like a hieroglyphics type style wording that wraps around the base of this. And you also saw what was mentioned in the earlier thing too, symbols on the shield.
Well, he can read it if it's a language because of his warlock kit.
Okay, so you can just automatically read pretty much anything, right?
Mm-hmm. He can read any language.
Okay. What this depicts is that it depicts a heart to a sun and a soul to a moon.
And I have to
And it talks about how the two exist on the same world, but are more accessible in their own particular shift, I guess you could say. And on the shield it shows the sun pointing to one side and a moon on the other, as the two have not eclipsed. Okay? And as you look around the base of this, it talks about what shift people are in currently. That is the very riddled type message that this thing depicts. As you study the base of this thing, and also with a natural 19, you can see with a natural 19, just for the hell of it, with bonuses, what is that?
Investigation. Be another 8, so 27.
Okay, that's excellent. This thing can rotate. This pillar can rotate kind of like the big ones outside could spin. Okay?
I'm going to start looking to see if there's any place, like looking around for markings where it might have stopped. You know,
absolutely. Roll me a insight with advantage.
Good thing it was with advantage. 19 on the second one, a 3 on the first one.
Okay, and I give you advantage because you're really onto something here, and you called that out. So always like if you as a player are on a really good sniffing trail, I'll give you advantage on a roll like that because I don't want you to think something your character's like, I got no clue. You know, that's kind of fucked up. I don't want to do that to anybody. So with that, you do see the faint markings on the floor, at least where you're standing, where this spear tip is pointing towards something. Okay? Now, as you are doing that, in this moment, something happens. And I have to find it here real quick. Something comes into view.
Yeah, that means God. So the worst that has happened is choose the
and you should watch the screen.
She probably said that because he had made.
As you are standing there looking at this, walking around the base of this pillar slowly is yet again the soul of Yeota. Okay? And as she walks around, give me a minute to get this set up correctly, she would probably say the following to you. Hello? Hello? Nope, you're
hello.
Not. Hello? Hello?
Who are you?
Hello? 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 We're there. Karsu was wise to bring you. What is it you think you've found?
Exactly.
Another puzzle. Maybe a key to something.
Maybe less of a puzzle and more of a reality. Look closely upon the floor, warrior. At that moment, Karsu walks up. Okay. As she does, let me find it here. Karsu, NPC. When she walks up, she seems to look at this statue with some kind of reverence. Like she recognizes something about this. And she looks over and she says, Mother, was this one of your protectors? Is this why you're still here? Is that why you linger here still? As her eyes uncloud over and they look back like normal eyes. Yeota's soul looks deep down to her. She says,
the Mori Tao paved the way. I am just here to see that their work does not go in vain. You are so close now, Karsu. Do you need rest? Are you weary? If so, let the warrior continue his reading.
What do you do, Danny?
Highlight
You'll Tusk chime in at any moment you want.
I'm not helping you with that game right now. You play
it. So Danny's not helping with this one.
Go, Arya, go. I've never played that version of Mortal Kombat.
Do not break the immersion, mortal.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I look up at the statue and say, is this the warrior that carried the Vulcan?
Very right. What's the steps?
Karsu looks at you and says, no. I don't know that this is a person exactly, more of a representation of an aura, of an era, or a blueprint. And a fine blueprint at that.
Oh, go get it.
As she's looking around and studying the design of this thing.
Go get it, Charlie. Go get it.
She walks around and rubs her hands across the boots of the statue and across the scales representing the scaled legs of the large prehistoric avian predator. And she goes over and she rubs her hand down the piece of this blade as she looks down to the floor, identifying the same marks that you saw, Danny. She looks over, and before she addresses Yeota, she looks at you all, and she says, I believe we may rest here. Do you all wish that?
I'd not like to leave Brahmas alone.
I'm okay.
I will go see if I can help him across. She says, Mother. And mind you, this whole time, you don't think this is her mother exactly, but you're not sure. The timeline's very strange. It almost seems like other scions call each other mother. Almost like a Mother Teresa. In a way, they have this kind of way. Her saying mother is almost like a title. You can't be sure, because everything else wouldn't make quite the sense of it, right? And then, you can't help but think, for the hell of it, do an insight check. Colby, have Kill Test do the same thing. Not good? Okay.
2.
Okay.
So 8 total.
Yeah. You heard Baraxel talk about how he helped with Yeota in this place. And that doesn't make sense either to you, Danny. Because if this being is that ancient, you're not sure how long it's been here, if it can be a mother. But if it is actually her mom, and Baraxel is older, he's like maybe 49, 50. That doesn't match up exactly either. She seems to be way more ancient than that. And with that too, it leaves you with more questions than you have answers. And you realize some things are just pretty complicated, sir. Okay? But there is a riddle to be figured out here, you can tell. With that, something comes into view.
I got a 17, by the way.
A 17. As you're thinking back to different things, you saw a statue that looked similar to this, Tusk, and it was close to where the hunting lodge was. Okay? But it was in ruins. When she walked up and was looking at that boot and that leg and those pieces coming down off of it, the pillar and the two legs were pretty much all that was left on this thing, as it looks like it had been destroyed by either the cataclysm that broke the earth or maybe by Vizillion that didn't want this statue to be up anymore. But beneath it was a camp, was a sacred place that Rursi, the cleric, being a Morital, the sister of a Morital, which we've discussed that, okay, said this place used to be an ancient place of rest that the Morital made for the Atlati warriors to recover from their long battles against the large monsters of this area. Okay? With the 17, you remembered that those legs look familiar, and this could be the potential spot of one of those ancient resting grounds. Okay? Is there anything you wish to say about this?
No.
Okay. Brahmas. Karsu appears on the other side, which makes you kind of jump for just a minute. You're not quite sure.
Give me that. Pull me up.
But when you guys lock eyes from a distance, she looks to you, and you can see that her eyes begin to glow white as she holds out a hand in your direction.
But at the same time,
she widens her stance to just a small degree, and you feel Brahmas become lighter and lighter to where it seems like your feet are barely touching the ground. You feel this inside. Now here's what's really cool. Inside of Brahmas, where you're at, you have different pedestals and columns that you have different books on the different pieces of Brahmas that you look through sometimes and reference real quick, and then you have those mirrors that seem to float, and you have all kinds of memorabilia and things. You've created a central room of operations inside of Brahmas, and it is immaculately cool looking. We've discussed this numerous times. The things inside of Brahmas are affected by this as well, as some of those books seem to start to pick up. You feel Merkrin, which seems to be having an eerie connection to things that happen to the outside of the Brahmas, begin to lift up a bit, as if gravity is starting to become confused inside of him. What do you do in this moment?
Other than being slightly taken, it's probably been a while since something like this has occurred. You'll just look at her. Don't press yourself too hard.
Okay. Danny, need you to roll me a 1d20 and a 1d8 and tell me what you get.
1d20 and a 1d8?
Yep.
15 and a 5 on the 8.
That's excellent. A 20. You can see that in her long, slender neck, she is straining, but her face keeps that cool resolve, like you know that, and you're learning that this scion has a power inside of her. You feel that your feet barely touch the ground. On the inside of Brahmas, you would have actually had to grab onto a pedestal to keep yourself planted. Okay, as the books and things are starting to kind of float up and move and get higher and higher and things of that nature. Are you going to attempt to walk across here now, or how do you want to play this, sir?
With this.
Do you want to dash? You were holding that sacred thing. Are you dropping that, or how do you want to do it?
Yeah, he's going to go ahead and drop it because he's going to try to put his concentration into this.
Okay, use your MP, please.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thank you.
It's going to be a whole lot of him kind of telling her, pick up just enough. Just lighten my steps. You don't have to lift me. And he's going to cautiously try to make his way across, keeping eyes on her. If she seems like she's getting too strained, he's going to make her stop.
Okay. Do you go slowly, quickly, medium? Talk to me about it. And do you want to roll a stealth to go lightly?
He's going to let her lead him because he doesn't want to get ahead of her.
Okay.
So if she feels like they can make a mad dash, he's going to do that. If she's wanting to move slow with it, he's going to do that.
So if it starts to go to shit, you're going for it.
Oh, if it starts to go to shit, I'm doing everything in my power to pick her ass up, and we're booking it. Especially if we're out in the middle of this bridge.
Well, she's on the other side. She's not coming across.
Oh, okay, I got you.
She's affecting you from the other side. She ain't She ain't stepping up. She's dumb. She's sacred one. You're on your own. Yeah.
He's gonna keep an eye on her as he's going. He's gonna attempt to move kind of quickly, but if he sees like that's gonna be a little bit too much, then he'll slow it down.
All right, roll a stealth check, which is pretty much a dexterity check to see how well you maneuver, and go ahead and let's see how much further you make it.
That's a nat 20 for a 23.
You make it across the first length of this. A few pieces of rubble and things fall in, but barely anything. You are making almost less of an imprint on this, equal to what Silouan did. This is working very well. Now, Danny, once again, 1d20, 1d8. Tell me what you get.
That would be a 14 and a 2.
16. That tells me plenty. Go ahead and continue. He's telling me, he's like, listen. And go ahead and roll me another stealth. Okay. So, dude, I love the way we do the checks. You know, the 20 is the base. The dice associated with that is imagining how good of a bonus they have in it by dice. And I usually do that middle number. So if I know they have a really good one, it's a 1d8, which is an average of a 4. You know what I mean? And I just kind of put the two together. It works. It makes for good stuff, and it keeps everyone busy, you know? With that, go ahead and give me your last check here, Jeremy, and tell me what you get.
15.
A 15. Colby, I need you to roll for me just a 1d20 without anything added to it. Or anything taken off of it.
16.
A 16. As you get to right here, Jeremy, with this railing having damage from before, and with a high roll of the d20, the boards around you start to collapse in this area. Right when you get to this point, you've still got 15, 20 foot to get to the end of this. As you feel this thing starting to go, what are you doing? I'll give you another moment here, but I'm going to need an answer. If not...
Quick.
Hmm?
This is what I was afraid of.
The dice don't lie, sir. Are you going to fucking go for it? I mean, it doesn't seem like standing here is a good option.
Are we saying that I got to this point and stopped, or have I walked up to this point and
walked up to this point and things are starting to come apart?
Okay.
Just on this part of it.
I'm going to try to move. as quick as I can.
Okay.
If I have to make a jump, that's what I'll do. But if I can make a mad dash,
athletics or acrobatics, I'll let you decide.
Oh, well, if that's a decision. Oh, they're both great. I'll do athletics. But that's a +9. It's a 13.
A 13 total. Okay. Well, we got 5, 10, 15, 20 foot will put you where you need to be. Danny, roll me 4d6. If you get over a 13, Jeremy doesn't make it.
3. And
I'm having him roll you a d6 for every 5 foot.
7 total.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, when you push off, you leave a hole where you pushed off. Because you did athletics. But as you did that, based with what she was doing to you too, it propelled you, you moon vaulted. But you destroyed that one section there, okay?
Which honestly, I feel like there would have been a whole lot more of it destroyed if I hadn't done that.
Yeah, you're right too. And with her putting that on you, it made you that athletics check that you rolled good enough to get you over. And like I say, that could have been 6, 12, 18, 24. Worst case scenario, average would have been 12. And you rolled a 13. So you had a chance. It was, by just doing you a d6 for every 5 foot. I like that. So you do, after a breath holder of a freaking moment here, get to the other side. And the good news is you didn't have to shoot Danny to do it. Right on. So, with that, you see Karsu take a deep breath and drop her guard, but she doesn't seem exhausted. Not like a level of exhaustion or anything. She handled this. She goes, I believe we've found respite. Let's go inside. See what we find together. See if maybe
Marco nod. Thank you.
You're what makes this possible. Thank you. As she goes in, as you guys walk in, you see the spirit of Yeota once again having a conversation with Danny, seemingly about his investigations and things of that nature. And as you walk into this place, something appears. And I've got to find it real quick. I think I have it written right here. Where is it? 3D mapped objects. Let's go ahead and do... Here we go. Okay. And then something comes into view near the lower part of the room, Danny. A campfire. Burning, very similar to the one that was outside of the hut originally. Remember the big one that they made that they were able to commune with the Ozaman through? Okay. Forms in the middle of this floor. And around it, there seems to be a spell circle that begins to emit. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you'll notice, it is fading in and out. It is not complete. It is unrealized. Yeota speaks once more.
Choose. Do you wish to replenish your soul or your spirit? Let the ancient Atlati warrior guide you, for you may only have one or the other. Good luck, warriors.
I'm going to use... Ooh, I don't know how that'll work.
Well, real quick before you say it, which I'm with you, but hold your thought, okay, boss? Because I can only move as quick as my mouse will let me. So, what you've got there is Yeota dissipates. Okay, guys? She fades out of view. And you're left with this aura that seems to be going up and down that doesn't have a realized thing yet. Danny, I want you to do me an insight check, please. And I want you to do it with... Oh no, let's... No, she was pretty much just kind of talking to you. An insight check, sir.
It'd be a 19 with bonuses.
A 19 with bonuses is pretty decent. It would seem that the nature of this circle, this spell circle that is engulfing this fire, the nature of it will have to do with the way in which you turn this pillar. You noticed that there was the symbol for the soul and the heart and things underneath of where it is currently pointing, and on the other side it would be more of the spirit and the magical side of things. So you have to decide which way you want to point this spear on this pedestal, and you have a feeling that will determine the nature of the spell circle.
Well, if we all heal each other, we can use this to to replenish our magic.
One train of thought. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to this? As you are walking into the room, Brahmas, this seems to be the debate.
Promise is going to kind of look around at everybody. Who's wounded?
Bast those hand up, go a little bit.
Trying to see what my pool is here. Yeah, he's gonna walk over to Bast. How hurt does he look?
Not bad. I've only got 11 off of me right now.
So he's gonna kind of walk over and do a. Let's do a first level cure wounds.
Okay, you guys go ahead and work out your math, and however you're doing that.
16 rolled max, so 22 altogether.
Anyone else?
Silowin would give a nod, and she'd say, "I've been fine since we came in here, but earlier I took a couple. But I'm okay. I think we worked on a lot of that before we came in here, right?"
I'll use 3 die for her. It's 11.
Okay.
12.
12. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. That seems to help her significantly. Kiltusk, do you have any input in this scenario?
No.
Okay. So, which way are you turning this statue? Right now, the way it's pointed is going to point it towards practically a healing. And if you turn it the opposite way, that's going to be more of a magical based healing.
Do the magical based one.
Okay. So, as you go and you turn this statue, let me find it. I hope I can. I think, here we go. I think that's number 1, isn't it? Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and let's go ahead and reverse horizontal.
Hey, Brian.
Bam. And then I'll move it. Yes.
Could I roll an insight on Shikoma just to see kind of how she's holding up after seeing that spirit and all that?
Shikoma's not in here.
Or not Shikoma.
Karsu.
Karsu, yeah, that's the one.
I know. Lots of crazy names and a crazy country. Absolutely, buddy.
I'll get the names all together.
So, Danny, and as you'll notice, I went ahead and flipped this and then turn it. And it is pointed towards a spot on the floor that seems to have runes that represent this. And as that happens, and just, I'm going to do the graphic of the spell circle, Jeremy, and then I will give you your results of that. Okay, buddy? Okay, so we've done that. Just a minute here. Let's go to the, sorry guys, just a second. Okay. Comes to fruition. And the color of said spell circle changes from what it is to more of that. And now the group has the effects of a long rest on the magical point side of things. Okay, so you're going to have to stay here for just a few, like a normal 15-minute, almost like a ceremony kind of deal, for at least 15 minutes, and that's going to replenish your magic points to full while you're within this area. Okay? Now, with that, it's 9:10. Let's go ahead and take our first break. Think about what you guys want to discuss over these 10 or 15 minutes as you were here replenishing yourselves. You've used your magic points up to heal, which was very wise. Okay? You have turned this to the other side, so the magic point thing was a good call. And when we come back, we'll decide to have a conversation about the way you wish to progress. Is that fair? Okay. Just a minute. Let me pull some things up here real fast. Okay, pause. And over here on pause. Okay, just a minute. And we'll go ahead and pause the recording now. Okay, we're back from break, guys. All right. So then, let me go ahead and get this over here. All right, so in these last 15 minutes, with the group all in here, Jeremy had made a mention that he wanted Brahmas and Merc to check out the mental condition of Karsu, just to kind of look her over. Is there anything particular you're looking for? Because the better the roll, the more detail I'll give you into one insight.
Well, I can tell you that I rolled a 21. But mostly, he's wanting to look and see if she's suffering any outward mental distress. Like, is this place stressing her to the max, where is she struggling to figure out what's going on? Or is she comfortable here? Or is there kind of a mix? Is she scared? That's kind of what he's trying to get just from her body language and kind of look on her face.
Okay. So, she is trying to hide her emotions, but after putting you through bringing you across the way, the healing is helping her to a degree as far as replenishing her magic and her ability to tap into this ancient power of psionics in the mind. She seems to be walking a path in a way, almost like this whole thing to her is like a ceremony in her head, like a tea ceremony. You see the women that come out, they have a certain dress, they walk a certain way, they have to present themselves a certain way. And with it, you said 21 total? You've had moments where you've seen Karsu, you've seen her emotion, you've seen her have moments and stuff like that. More and more of that, though, as she goes in here, is leaving. And she's starting to take on, she's being extremely formal. But she doesn't know all the steps to the ritual. She's trying to be a naturalist. What she doesn't understand about this place, she's trying to be respectful. She's trying to be Atlati. And letting who she is guide her as far as what she should be doing. You know, it's almost like there's missing passages in the plans, and she's letting instinct take over and fill in those gaps. She did not roll very high on her trying to disguise this, especially against a 21. That's what you pick up from her. But her resolve, I mean, she's not sweating. But you're picking up on these things. And you've seen the way she reacted when Baraxel confronted her. When she knew that she was going to leave Rursi behind, and how she kind of got uncomfortable. But Silouan is being here for like support for her, which is kind of giving her the confidence to just go on and make it up as she goes, you know. So that's what you're seeing there, Merc. Okay. Anybody else have anything that they were doing? I'll keep your conversation limited because you were focusing mostly on that, Jeremy, in that time frame. I'll go to you, Bastille. During that time, what is it that you were focused on, buddy?
He's probably just focused inward at the time, trying to figure things out.
Okay. Colby, anything for you at all, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, bud.
No.
Okay. All right. Moving on. As the time expires, the spell circle fades, and the campfire seems to just fade away to nothing as the stone seems to turn into dust. The embers of the fire seem to expire quickly as the fire turns out cold and blows itself out, almost like a candle gets blown out in a ghost movie. As that gust of wind blows that dust across the floor, and once again, the particles of what's left of this campfire that's been materialized seep into the cracks and the crevices in the walls and floor, as if whatever manifested, what ancient kind of energy come up and made this out of particles of dust and spiritual energy and the grime, faded back into its place like a snake retrieving back into its hole. And the campfire itself also vanishes. What is the group doing now? You've came this way. There seems to be one entrance way that is up. Is there any more investigation that needs to be done in this room? I don't know. It is up to you guys to tell me what you're doing next.
Look around the walls and see if there's anything. Looks like a secret door or anything.
Okay. Anyone like to help him with this, or is he, once you see Danny go over and he starts inspecting the walls in very roguish style, what's everybody else doing? Silouan would look over and would be like, "Oh, we're doing that." Okay. And she gives you, can she do guidance? I don't know if guidance is the bard spell. I think it's maybe just a cleric thing, isn't it?
I know warlocks can do it too.
Yeah. Well, let's hold on to that. As you're looking that up, Jeremy, Colby, is there anything you're doing while Bastille begins to look around for any kind of secret passageways or things of that nature in this room?
No, I think I'll just like see if anything, see what I can see from the passageway going up.
Okay. She cannot. Okay. I will at least give you advantage on your or on whatever it is. Is it investigation for you to find traps and shit like that as a rogue, Danny?
Yeah, it would either be that or sleight of hand for traps would be disarming. I think investigation or.
I'm saying investigation.
Okay, investigation would be 26 with advantage.
26. As you go around the outside room for the next few moments, I'll say maybe you even start doing that a little bit of after everyone's MP was recovering and stuff. Brahmas is looking at her. That way it kind of puts this in a nice little time pocket of time well spent. 26, you do not find anything innately in these walls. Okay? Kiltusk has already moved up to the northern part of this room, is attempting to peer into the darkness from beyond, but then you can't really see anything from where you're at, sir.
Alright.
Because you don't have dark vision. But just a minute, and I'll give you an idea of something here, because there is a possibility you could see something up ahead. Just a moment. I just saw it. That is going to be J, right? Yes, okay. Just a minute. Okay. As you peer ahead, as it looks to go downward, there appears to be a long, straight hallway. As you stand at the top of the stairs, looking down it with a torch or one of those orbs that seems to radiate some kind of energy on the far end of the hallway. As we've discussed, these were oil things, weren't they? These were oil fires. Okay. That's what you see at the far end. You see two passages that open up to the right. Kiltusk, as you look this direction.
Alright.
Marching order, what are you guys doing?
Being the only one with dark vision, I'll take the lead.
Okay. The rest of you tell me what you're doing, and I'll put you in the positions, and we'll move forward.
I'll be in the back again.
Okay, you retreat to the back. Promise, where you want to be, right behind Bastille?
Right behind Bastille, unless Silouan's looking antsy, in which case he's going to try to stick back a little bit.
She noticed in this time that you were studying Karsu quite a bit. And she would go by and she goes, I've got this. Just keep us safe, okay? And she stays back and she stays by Karsu's side as they stay safely back behind you. Okay? Make sense?
Looks right.
Okay, let's go ahead and do an NPC here. And then Kiltusk here. Alright, that's our order. Alrighty, guys? Danny moving forward, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Move up to the first entrance and peek in.
Okay. As you do, you see this room. Good stuff. Just a minute. Okay, let me get over here so you guys can see this. There's more to this room than you thought. As a large room opens up. Since you were the one that looked in first, I will give you the honor of reading the text in just one moment, okay? 1 second. Okay, let's see here. That is T14. Okay, just a minute. T14. Okay. I'll bring this up bigger, and then I'll let you read it, Danny.
Disturbed Atlati tomb is centered in the middle of this mausoleum-type room. The image depicted on the lid of the tomb displays an Atlati scion holding a holy symbol and fending off an array of twisted and corrupted ghost-like creatures. Her ornate headdress appears to be the source of her power in the depiction. It reflects traits that could be described as both celestial and demonic. Ooh.
A lot to take in there. Everyone get that? The second that you step in the room, you did not mention that you were doing stealth. And you see a spirit emerge as it was looking through the vases, and it turns to face you, its eyes glowing.
One thing I don't understand about Mortal Kombat is that when you don't have to block. If you keep hitting them, they can't hit you. But now I'm on the thing where it's teaching me how to play the game, and I have to block, and I don't know how to block, so I just keep hitting him, and he dies when I hit him. I don't understand what blocking is used for.
Good deal. So with that,
the answer is always back, forward, B.
Isn't it? Every time.
Mirror.
Okay. So, now why? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
So right, and now I'm the only one he can see, right?
Correct. I need you to roll initiative for me.
22.
Okay, just a minute. Okay. Okay, the rest of you, please go ahead and roll initiative. Colby, tell me what you get. And then Jeremy, tell me what you get.
Got a 27.
Look at you, buddy. Damn. Really? Damn. Okay. Roll for Silouan. 1d20, 1d8. Danny, please.
That's a 5.
Yeah. Not really into it, is she?
I got a 28.
Are you serious?
Yep.
I'm not mad about it. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and say that. Let's do this. Okay. Colby, you're going to be going first here, sir.
Alrighty.
So, you see Danny kind of freeze as he looks over to his left, up ahead of you. You're in the very rear of this situation. You see some kind of reaction, and because of an amazing roll, you have the chance to get the upper hand here and dash in. Now, this hallway's 10 foot wide, and we are in the center of it, so I will let you sneak along these people to get into the room, or I will let you do whatever, but I just want you to understand that you can move into the room ahead if you would so choose.
All right. Yeah. I will move in, and then stealthily move in, and would I
Jeremy,
be
you're
able?
on deck.
And then would I be able to tell if it's a magical creature like a spirit or like an actual creature?
Okay. At 15 foot in, you could see over top of Danny, you could see he was looking at a creature down there. It seems to be a ghost like apparition of Atlati warrior, kind of like these memory like ghosts that guard this place, just like the other ones you've seen so far.
All right.
Now, to make a shot, you're behind Danny. Danny could use his reaction to duck if he chose to, but other than that, you'd have to move another 5 foot in. You've moved 15 so far. You'd have to move another 5 foot in to have a good clear shot.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have enough movement for that.
Okay.
Does Kiltos ever recall like when he got that memory from the chameleon if they had also made the arrows magical, or that they just made them like blend in with the environment when he shot?
With attunement, you're still not quite. Well, you rolled a 20. I remember when you were doing that check, which was fucking epic. It seems like what they do is that string will possess an arrow, and the spirit of the chameleon will enhance the arrow shot from the bow. And so many times per day, it's not going to be limitless. I don't know if you actually wrote that down or not. How many times per day? I think you have to find out yet. But when you shoot arrows through a string of the chameleon, they take on the look of their surroundings, almost like Predator in the Predator movies. So people don't have weapon defense and evasion against that particular shot because they cannot see it coming in any way.
All right.
Are they magical and damage though?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Because the arrow is then magical.
All right. Would it be a bonus action or an actual action if I left chameleon attached to my string again?
It would be a full action to change the string.
All right, then
it has to go through the whole motion of it.
I will do that then.
Okay. Go ahead and you call upon him. Do an animal handling check, please.
Alrighty.
A 16 works. Now you're starting to feel like you're getting the hang of this kind of, right? And as you lower your bow to your side and you hold your arm out and stuff like this, you rustle your shoulder as if you're trying to call this thing out. As you hold your bow a certain way, and as it does, the chameleon runs down from your panacho, down your arm, and goes through the same process. Your string falls down, and it is now restrung with the chameleon string.
All right. Then I will use my bonus action again. My bonus action for this round and do an overdraw shot.
Okay. Now I want you to understand something. I'm gonna let you do this. But your action takes all your attacks, right? The bonus action in the overdraw shot, if you look through the fine print, I'm going to let you do it this one time, okay? Because I don't want to, I understand what you're up to. But the bonus action is just to overdraw a normal shot.
Oh,
okay? So it takes one attack still to do this. But that bonus action is you grimacing down and being like, and then letting your shit go. So it really takes a bonus action and one attack.
You have steadfast assault?
The feat? If so, that's great.
I don't think so.
Okay. So what is it?
I don't see it.
Okay. I will let you take one attack just because I'm being a nice DM with an overdraw shot.
That would be a total of... That would be 16 for the overdraw shot. So That makes it, that beats it by at least 5, so that adds an additional 1d6.
Damage?
Yeah.
Okay. And go ahead and do your attack roll.
18.
18 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
$13.
Okay. So, as the arrow goes through, he doesn't even look like he's prepared for this. As he turns, the arrow just seems to go straight through, and as it hits him, something strange happens. That's really cool. When you hit him with this arrow, this magical arrow, based on an ancient relic from a time when this thing possibly survived, it drops its arms down to its side and takes off the helmet. It looks at you and takes one step forward towards you and Bastille both. And it says, Atlati warrior. Go. Go in peace. And as that happens, it turns and walks straight into the wall beside itself here and vanishes from the room. Okay? So, think of that as you may, talk about it out loud, whatever happened. But Danny, when you saw that he shot this thing with a relic of their kind, it identified him as an Atlati warrior, as if it saw something. And that seems to be all it needed. With that, the room seems to be vacant. What are you all doing at this point?
I'm going to go up and examine the sarcophagus and the thing in front of it.
Okay. Kill Test, is there any conversation that happens between you all after this happening, or are we just moving straight on? It's perfectly fine.
Kiltusk is gonna pick up his old bowstring again, and also ask Karsu, if all that we need to do is just have an Atlati warrior fight the spirits, and they just leave, and that's it, or
when you're in the middle of saying it, she starts kind of shaking her head, like she's thinking on it. And she would say to you, I can't be certain the complete purpose of these guardians that are left here, Kiltusk. But I can say that I don't believe it is their intention to hurt their own kind. I believe the brave are welcome here. And somehow maybe you've proven that. But exactly how, I cannot be certain. And that's all she has to say for that. Promise, Danny, anybody. And it's all good. If not, we'll just move on to Danny doing his thing.
I think Kiltus would say, like, out loud, that one of two things are gonna are just happened. Either now we don't have to worry about spirits, or now just let me handle the spirits if they're not peaceful.
Okay. Conversation?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Silowin says, as long as it works and it gets us closer to helping you out. And she's looking at Karsu, nodding her head as she says this. Brahmas, anything on that?
No, he didn't quite make it into the room.
Correct.
But he's kind of watching the tone of everything going on right now.
Okay.
Because Killtusk attacked it, and it's just like, oh, okay, see you guys.
Yeah, right.
That's got him mildly confused.
And so, in this moment, let's just use theater of mind here, because I don't need to move all the pieces exactly around like it's a stage play. You guys are in here now, and Danny is moving up to the actual sarcophagus to investigate, correct? Okay. So, I'm going to deal with Danny, and then as you move around freely to ponder this, have no problem with just jumping in, saying what you need to say. It's all good. That's why we're here, right? Okay. So, Danny, as you go up the steps, and you remember what you read, okay, you see that image depicted on the lid of this thing. You notice it has been knocked askew. Okay. You also see a bunch of flowers and different trinkets and ornaments and things like that have been placed down at the foot of this. And they seem to be almost preserved somehow. And it's such a contrast. The wooden bridge outside was decrepit. Yet, although somewhat faded, these flower petals and these little trinkets and these straw little things made to almost look like voodoo kind of symbolism are intact with some color into them still. And this seems strange as your eyes just can't help but search in through the darkness into this tomb. You can see the cold stone within. You see urns to the side, empty, with spiderwebs collecting dust. What is it you would like to do in this moment? Are you moving forward? Are you examining this or examining the urns? What is it you're doing in this moment?
I'd be examining the trinkets and the flowers first.
Okay. Roll investigation. Or investigation or nature. You decide.
We'll do investigation.
Okay.
So 15.
15. As you describe to me the nature and how you investigate them. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I just get down close to them and look. And
what's that?
Get down close and look, see if I see anything glowing, anything that might hint that these are magical of some nature.
Okay. You don't see anything glowing, and without touching them, they just seem to be stationary and somewhat vibrant. But you don't know who would have placed them here recently, even if that where they would have came from.
Are they flowers in a vase?
They are just laying there as if they've been laid down in front of a tomb of someone of that nature, like people would rest flowers on top of a casket. And like they seem like maybe they've been knocked off. I'm sorry, and it seems like they were knocked off when the lid was moved. But with a 15, you do notice one strange thing without having to touch them. There's a few leaves and petals that seem to be the furthest away from the sarcophagus. Those ones barely leave the symbol of any kind of ash, as if they are a distance just outside of the whatever power it is that's keeping these things vibrant, close to its insides. But that's the best you can tell from this. You can experiment with the idea if you would like. Whatever else you'd want to do, go ahead.
I'll take the one closest to the edge and move it closer to where that ash line is and see what happens.
Brahmas, would you be watching him do this at this point? Is everyone putting their attention on Danny, or are you all doing your own investigations?
Brahmas is probably going to be starting to move forward a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just given his background and everything. He's not particularly fond of the fact that the casket is set askew as it is.
Okay. Okay. If there's anything magically you're wanting to do or something like that, all you gotta do is chime in. Okay, we're out of initiative.
There's gonna be a whole lot of if nobody stops him, he's gonna straighten that casket out. He wants that thing closed.
Okay. So I'll say you're walking around this side of it. You're tall enough, Brahmas, where this is only like a tour. Each one of these steps is just basic steps, and this is one more. This is not a huge far up platform. This is about at chest level for you. You could mess with the lid just from standing down on the side of this thing. Okay, so I'll say you're getting around and you're standing over here, and as you're thinking this and looking at this, Danny pushes one of those flowers just a little bit further of the outside of this thing, and it begins to fall apart as if time catches up with it, and some of the leaves just where you push it just outside of that range begin to die off and wilt rapidly, just turning practically to dust.
As soon as that happens, he reverses and he picks them back up and puts them on the sarcophagus on the top, where they probably originally were.
As you pick them up and you sit them on top, what's gone is gone from the flower. Nothing particularly happens, but as you're reaching over, you're able to look down inside of the sarcophagus. Okay? And you see Brahmas coming over and kind of measuring it up and giving it a look. You see a figure inside. Okay? Are you investigating further, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and look in.
From the little bit that you can see through here, this seems to be some kind of preserved remains of a person, thin. And on their head seems to be some kind of panacho. I want you to do another investigation check.
19 plus 8, 27.
A 27. Being close to the lid and looking down in this, with a 27, you cannot help but connect the dots on a very, very good roll, Danny. The panacho depicted on the scion that is combating the ghosts and undead and evil things on the lid of this sarcophagus, as your hand is still touching the flowers, seems to be the exact same one that this scion is wearing inside here.
Karsu, I believe this is yours.
Karsu just kind of looks at you, and she takes a deep, long breath, and she begins to walk at you as if she's walking down, like, you know, you've seen weddings where people walk very formally and they have a certain grace to their steps, and she walks around a certain way, and Silwyn just kind of stands there proudly and watches her with concern, not guiding her up to that step. And as she walks around and walks up beside you and peers down inside, she can't quite find the words. If you were going to get inside of it, the lid would need to be moved more at this point. Are you guys saying anything to Brahmas in this moment? Killtusk, are you taking notice of what's going on here at this moment? You guys go ahead and talk this out. But if you're going to get inside of this, it's going to need to be moved more.
Brahmas, we're going to need this lid moved.
Okay. What are you saying to that, Brahmas? They have seen something, and he has called to her to go up there to say, hey. you heard it. You were sitting right there. Go ahead and act out the scene, guys.
And it'd be investigated without opening it further.
So Panacho in there it's for Scion. I can tell by what's on the top.
Kill Tusk, do a history check.
Just don't know how I feel about opening a casket that seems to already have been defiled.
Very interesting. I love that we have different trains of thought at different parts through this. That's what it's about. It's about being your character. I like that. What'd you get, Colby?
9.
One weird thing about that conversation. Typically, Scions don't wear panachos. That seems strange to you. And as you're thinking this, you can see pause in Karsu. But she's not saying anything. She just seems to be in thought about this whole thing. Do you choose to speak up in any way whatsoever, or are you still just going to ponder and be at a distance from this moment?
He'll probably still be at a distance at this point because he's not exactly sure about why this poncho belongs to her and stuff like that.
Cool. Danny, you and Brahmas, obviously, Bast and Brahmas need to have a conversation about what they're going to do with this. Silouan will be there to add in her 2 cents as she walks up and looks at the two of you to see how you figure out this religious dilemma.
What's pictured here was a Scion wearing this amongst angels and demons.
Kill Tusk, Karsu, is it customary for you to be buried with your panachos?
Karsu looks to Kill Tusk for a minute and sees that he's not saying anything. And then she speaks up and says, well, she just kind of shakes her head no. And she says, and she takes those flowers and moves them to the side and investigates the scene a little bit more. And looks. There are only 2 reasons why myself, a child, and a mother Scion would wear such an ornament. 1, panachos are only for Atlati guardians that guide their Scions, as they are bonded to them, given to them, made to be one with them. That is why Baraxel is so torn. One reason why this possible Scion wears this is in memory of her guardian if he died, protecting her. She would be buried with it as he gave his life to her. Or this is not a Scion yet, but a female guardian. An Atlati female warrior as Shakoma. Those are the only 2 reasons that I can imagine, but I'm unclear as to which this is.
Bast would point to the eyes of the Scion on the thing that's wearing it, showing that she wore it while she was alive.
Okay, so you're pointing to the eyes of the Scion.
Like,
are you saying on the lid?
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird because in a stone depiction like that, unfortunately, there's no telling what the actual iris and things like that look like. They could be solid over, or they could be, because you see the undead kind of have a similar style. It's the battle that's going on. This individual has one hand to her head, but she also carries a great weapon. And with a 27, you recognize it as being a spear. A large one. This makes you think, well, what do you think? This could mean multiple things here. But she does have a great looking spear to her side. And she has her hands on her head like this too, as she's battling undead and ghosts that seem to swarm around her.
I ask her if that spear is the Vulcan.
Okay, that's really good. Even with disadvantage, she says, she nods, she goes, and she closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. She goes, I'm trying not to be excited, but yes, this could be. I haven't, there are no images of it. But maybe this is the first. Could it be?
So is she going to need this? Mr. Coma going to need this to wield it then?
She looks unsure. She's not sure. Colby, after all this talk of Panachos and the Vulcan and things like this, do you have anything you would like to chime in or do any kind of checks and add to the conversation?
Can I see if if there's a chance that I might recognize the poncho to like stories or like other pictures when he was young?
Well, I would say, yeah, simply because you make these. Now, I don't know if you make them like this, but you know a process, right? You create them, and I remember in your class kit, you can make different panachos of your choice as you progress through levels, which give you almost like weapon specialization against different creatures, almost like favorite enemies of rangers, right? But you have a mechanical element to it, whereas rangers just have it. I hate ogres, and I'm going to shoot their ass, and I can track you forever, right? You don something like dwarven horns and things that ogres and orcs would hate, and you would make a panacho that would make them fear and hate you, and you would embody that. So you understand the process pretty well. That would, I don't want to sit here and say your interest is piqued because I'm not you, but you would definitely have something to add to this scenario. You are a maker of panachos. As Guardians and Atlati Warriors, that's what they do. And if Baraxel isn't here, you're their best shot at knowing something about this. That makes sense? Okay.
Check the picture cabinet in the back.
Alright, so I think I might either roll investigation or history to see if I can see what this is Panacho was made for.
Okay. Do a history and investigation.
Alright.
Okay. And let's see what you get. And I want you to now listen, because of your class and because this is something you know, I'm going to let you, I'm going to let you have advantage on one over the other. You choose.
Well, I got nat 20 for like the first roll, so
that's 4 nat 20s tonight. You realize that? Okay.
I have to get him a special camera.
Something's going to happen, Jeremy. Something's going to happen, you fucker.
Yeah, I need him to mail me those dice. I need to borrow them because I feel like there's some big rolls coming up.
Yeah, they need to go in the Warrens' basement because it's a cursed item. And he's going to the Warrens.
I got it for Christmas, guys. Okay.
Right on. Yeah, Santa's spirit is with you, sir.
I was saying, remind me to ask Santa Claus for those exact same dice.
Yeah, elven magic is strong.
And my mom just said that Brian's wife help her pick these dice out. So
it's the truth. His mom talked to my wife about it, and she's like, "Yeah, get those." So
well, let's hope Brian's wife doesn't help Brian find dice. We're screwed otherwise.
Yeah, you'd be proper fucked at that point. Yeah. So okay, so natural 20 on the one, you get advantage on the second one.
All right.
We'll call the first one investigation. The history is the one that's going to be tougher because that's so. Matter of fact, straight roll on history to know the past of this potential story, but the investigation natural 20 makes sense because it's here in the now and you make these.
All right.
I can sit well with that. But what was your history check? If it's not natural 20, I just want you to turn this shit off and go to bed because you're a liar.
All right. So when I already rolled twice because I was just not knowing about the advantage one. So
okay, what was the first one then?
So 14
plus
so 3, so 17.
Okay, here's what I'll give you with that. With an unnatural amount of natural 20s and a 17 overall. And I just think it's great that Danny's grinning because he knows his own kind, right? He knows. He sees through your deceit.
Okay, but we all know either later or in the next episode I'm screwed.
Yeah, as soon as you go back to Loki, you're going to do another one. He's going to hate you forever. We know how it works. So, awesome moment for a 20. This Pinocho, as you peer down inside of this thing, seems to be very well preserved, and you can't believe the craftsmanship of this. And as you look at it, you can do nothing else with a natural 20 but discern that this is a Pinocho of a high-level Atlati warrior. But it was this woman, whatever this figure was, it was not made for her. She is wearing this as, you know, this wouldn't be for her particularly. Once you're putting it together, the lid and this. But it is a Pinocho that gives you your abilities against fiends and the undead, apparitions and the undead. So, it's ironic that it's here, but just as the lid depicts. Whereas if you have a certain Pinocho on, it gives you these certain abilities against things. If you or Shikoma were to slip this on, it would give you those effects against apparitions and the undead.
Alright.
And it is here, okay, but there's no spear here. The spear, with a 20, you don't know that it was ever here, but the Pinocho is. And it is, you are excited by this. This is like, holy shit. This is like a paladin finding a holy avenger kind of thing.
Alright, so the Pinocho was made, but not made by her, but was given to her?
It looks like this is of an extraordinary make, but you would say this is the first one that Karsu detailed. This is a scion or someone else wearing this thing in tribute.
Alright.
The trinkets that are on her don't depict her as an Atlati warrior. She has the makings from the lid and this of a Morital.
Alright. So then Kiltos will say, this is Karsu's first option, because this is not, at least not a Atlati warrior like me or Shikoma, but more of a higher one. And this Pinocho was a tribute, and this Pinocho actually does what mine does with our creatures here, but with the undead and evil spirits. And as for the spear, I don't think it was ever here.
he sounds excited as he's telling you this. You can hear breaking in his words as if the excitement of getting them out and seeing this thing. This is almost like Kiltusk is seeing a legendary story unfold in front of him. He's seeing a very cool relic.
Let's get it open for him, Brahmas.
Yeah. What are you saying that, Brahmas?
It handles the undead. We're surrounded by undead.
Now, if you don't want to do this, explain to me your dilemma. And you guys work this shit out. And if you end up leaving it, leave it. If you don't. It's D&D. There's no right answer.
Because over the course of the several lifetimes he's lived, I'm sure he's run across a great number of defiled graves. Things that he's felt compelled to fix so that the dead could rest. And seeing this, he's torn because he knows these would be valuable things. But at the same time, from what he's kind of picked up, which I could roll a religion check to verify or not, but kind of what he's picked up is that this is a group that believes that what you're buried with is what you take to your afterlife. So he's kind of conflicted in, if we take these from her or him or whatever's in here, will that affect her afterlife?
Roll a religion check for me.
Is there a way that Kiltusk can actually see how torn Brahmas is?
Yeah, do a insight into Brahmas. Tell me what you get.
It's
what was your roll, Brahmas?
20 for a 27.
Okay. God, you guys, listen, this is a narrator's dream. Because then I get to tell you the whole fucking story, right? Which is cool. And I don't feel like am I being modest enough? Because, I mean, at 20, you discern some pretty cool shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to paint this information in a way where it's something you're discerning. I'm not just trying to take made up facts and force feed them to you. Does this feel like a natural process to you? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that because, you know, I'm just a regular guy trying to tell a fucking fantastic story. So
he's basically relying on this religion check to determine whether or not it's going to affect the afterlife.
Okay.
Like if he knows from them what's going on, then he'll kind of go one way or the other.
Okay. I'm going to put it to you like this. The humble side of you that knows that people are buried with things that belong to them is true in several different religions and things that you've seen. You've seen different people on the surface in mainlanders and in the original Knights of Ulran and things of that nature that were done things with ceremoniously. But when you look at the overall scope of this with a natural fucking 20 Mercandal, the fact that there's a Vulcan that was used by an ancient warrior that we are trying to uncover a tomb with so we can reuse that weapon speaks volumes, right? The fact that there are ancient statues in this thing that we are moving and manipulating to open up possibilities. Thinking about the fact that once he proved to these evil spirits he was an Atlati by some magical means, and it was able to prove itself to them, they knew that this wasn't the person they needed to defend this place against. Things add up. If you wanted to respect this place and not move it, that would be simply a merc thing for your own conscience. But something like this is usable by the living. The fact that these flowers are still here and that this panacho is still radiating and still working to some degree means that this is a respectable artifact that could be used in this moment. And the fact that, you know, people are using the spears, that people are the Atlati warriors and the stories you heard at the campfire, it all seems to add up where this is something that is usable. You would want to use reverence with it and do it the way that makes your soul feel the best about it. If you want to say vows, make promises that one day you're taking it to make sure that air flows back through this place and that your death wasn't for anything, and we're going to make your people rise up again. You may have to do something like that to get your mind wrapped around it, Merc. But they're about using this stuff, and the Vulcan is the most telling thing. If we're after the search an ancient weapon to do something that needs to be done, this is just another one we didn't anticipate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to force a hand. It's still up for interpretation, but that's what you're getting with a 20 religion check. Does that sound fair, Danny?
I think so.
Okay. Kill Tusk, you liking that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So with that, being as torn as he is, you're going to see Brahmas grasp the lid, and he's going to move it over just enough to be able to access what we need. But once that is done, he is actually going to step out of Brahmas to help gather the things without causing any damage. And the entire time, he's going to be saying some sort of prayer of reverence. Not necessarily doing like a ceremony or anything, but basically, like you said, doing a prayer to the spirit itself. He knows, just from what he's experienced with the Einarjar, trying to make sure that the fighting spirit can live on through the spiritual side.
Dude, do an Arcana check for me real quick. Or spellcraft, you choose.
17.
Okay. You have the spell protection from good and evil, right?
A
lot of paladins do.
I don't think that's one that I actually carried.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking if you had a spell like that, that would be something worthy of putting on this while you removed the Panacho. If you had something of that nature, that would scratch the itch that you're talking about. But if you're not sure, go ahead and do it some other way. But go ahead and roll me in athletics to move the sarcophagus lid. A little, just enough.
Now the question is, who's putting it on?
You said just a strength check, right?
In athletics.
Oh, athletics, okay.
Yeah. And yes, that's Brahmas' stats.
26.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. You slide it over with no issue, as a little bit of that oil firelight shines in on top of this sleek, slender female body that is frozen in a state of eyes closed, hands over the chest, emblems. And now that there's more light moving in there, Brahmas, you can tell that this does wear a close resemblance to, it's a hybrid. It's kind of in between the scion that you've seen the spirit of here in Yeota, and kind of a mixture of some of the things that you saw Rursi wearing back there, the cleric, the priest of this kind, the Morital half sister. So with reverence, go ahead and paint me a picture. What's it look like? Do you want to be the one to remove this since you're making the call, or Bastille, are you just kind of standing back and watching, or Karsu's not making a move?
But I'll help him move, but there's no way I'm going to move that thing. It's a big ass piece of rock.
He's going to look to Kill Tusk and Scion and just make sure that they have no objections to him doing what he's doing. Because as of right now, he is in his spiritual form. So
that's awesome.
He's just doing what he can, trying to keep as light a hand as possible, treating the body with as much respect as he can give it.
Okay.
The whole while saying a prayer out loud.
Kill Tusk, what are you doing at this moment? This is, I just want to say, just so you can react to this, this is a story come to life for you. When you see have you ever seen the spirit of Brahmas walk out, or the spirit of Merc walk out of Brahmas before?
I think so. When
okay, this is huge. Yeah, that's right. You did. This is a huge thing. Now remember what all that entails, and make sure to take it off your character sheet as you're doing this. But what a good use of it. You would see the Scion's eyes begin to wide over as she stands back and bows. As Silwyn looks at her for just a moment and looks over at Danny and gives Danny like a knowing look. You know, it's true that those two had a conversation about her learning to respect herself and things of that nature, and Danny's point to this was some things are meant to be the way they are through tradition. She is seeing, Silwyn is seeing that. She takes a step over closer to Karsu to show support, and she even gives a gentle nod as Karsu puts her hands together and begins to pray and is gently singing as you reach in to remove this relic. I mean, sleight of hand, whatever you want to do, be careful, roll something. A D20. Let's see what's going on. Because this thing looks like it's preserved.
Yeah, I'll just sleight of hand.
Are you going for it, or is Brahmas? Or sorry. What is it, Jeremy?
That had me so worried. I was afraid. I'm like, oh, I'm going to break this thing. And it's just a whole big deal. That's another natural 20 for a 23.
Okay. Now, here's what's cool.
Merc was really about this.
Fuck yeah. I mean, right? So, you reach in. You go to touch this. Something happens. Silwyn would gasp, and you would hear her say your name, but it sounds like Silwyn is underwater. Kiltusk, you would notice that when he comes in contact with this Panacho, it seems to weaken Mercrin. Okay? As this thing wards off spirits, apparitions, and the undead, of which Mercrin is kinda, as a celestial entity. So as it does not completely disband you and throw you away from it, you do, however, take are you resistant to radiant damage as a celestial? You have resistance, I think, don't you? I don't know.
I think I do, but check.
Okay. It would have been 12, but if you're resistant, I'm thinking it's down to 6, where it would have staggered you for just a moment, but it would have been enough where you could have powered through it and pulled the relic out unharmed with a natural 20. Now, if you read to contradict that and you're like, no, Brian, I would have taken none from it, that's a different story. But in my mind, as a DM, this thing is about warding off spirits and that, but you're not an evil spirit. So there's going to be some reaction to a spirit and something that is not exactly living touching this thing. You guys on board? There's something there. And I mean, it's funny, I got everyone so caught up in the moment they didn't think of that. Which is part of it. So,
I did say evil spirits.
Right, yeah, you did. That's true. So, I'm going to move on slowly here, Jeremy, but if you find something in the book that says no, no, no.
I think it's somewhere, but I think it follows the rules as just standard ghost stat block. Mm-hmm. So basically, resistance to non-magical weapons, bludgeoning, piercing, all that. I'll pull up stat block real quick to see what it covers.
And now, mind you, but you're kind of also, you're a celestial.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough. You know what I mean? We're going to say half damage from now, so write down 6. Okay?
Okay.
And then if that changes on down the road, we can repaint the picture. It's an erasable brush. It's good stuff. All right? That's what story editing's all about. But I'm pretty comfortable with that. Are you good with that for now, Jeremy? Okay.
So is it now fully off the corpse?
It would be. You would see long braids of hair that were left out from underneath this thing, long and black, with different chimes and things that look a lot like what Rursi was wearing back at the hunting lodge, Merkrin. As you pull this up and as you stray for just a moment as that pain goes through you, it also embraces you and recognizes you as not an evil spirit. It was giving you a warning shot. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And as you're able to pick this up, Kiltusk, you would watch this with large eyes as the spiritual version of Merkrin holds forth a Panaccio, and it is exactly as he described on the lid of this sarcophagus. It looks like a mixture of angelic and demonic markings that make up this thing, where it has sinister like eyes, but like large bird-like feathers that hang down off of it. Certain chimes in an ancient writing. Danny, you recognize some of these symbols as ancient Morital versions of celestial writing, as if they have been taught this, and it is a primitive, broken version of that original language which you have seen before.
Any of it that I recognize, like any of the close to angelic names I recognize?
No. Oh my God. You see one very fucking interesting thing. You've never heard this name before. Son of a bitch. Roll an insider investigation. If you roll a 20, you fuckers, dude, I swear.
Can I reach out to Merc and so I can hold in seeing how wide-eyed I was?
In a minute.
17 plus 8, so 25.
The 25. Hey, is there anything below 15 anymore? Did we just not do that? I mean, shit. 25.
Well, we're all like level 13.
You know what 25 is? 25 is fucking awesome.
Bastille's head explodes from all the information he just picked up.
Yeah. Butterfly effect. He gets nosebleeds. You see a name, but it's not one you've heard before. It talks about surrounding from the tales and the images and dreams given to this particular warrior. And it says, may the blessing of Ambriel keep Dran Tondo pure. You should write that down.
He looks up and he goes...
If you say this out loud, it's going to fucking blow up people's heads, dude.
Dran Tondo. That's the guy that fought Tetsuko, right?
Yeah, it fucking kind of is, yes.
Ambriel blessed him. Ambriel's an angel.
How do you know that?
That's what this says.
It insinuates that Ambriel's an angel, but it's one that you've never heard of.
Well, I recognize the characteristics of the naming.
Yep. So when you say this, say that as something that Bastille hasn't quite put together, doesn't understand.
Yeah, he's kind of almost talking to himself. Dran Tondo is blessed by Ambriel. Embryo. And he's almost drawing it in the air as he's thinking about he's doing other runes with his fingers. That's angelic. It's just slightly wrong as if. And he's trying to draw the rune as it should be.
Okay.
And then he goes, and there's a seraphim here. A walking seraphim, if they're right. This one does, he looks at Brahmas, he goes, this one has, it may be an angel walking in a seraphim. Not like what we did back there where he's adjusting for the next millennium or who knows how long. But this one, this is a real deal.
In that moment, go ahead, Kill Tusk. What are you doing as Danny is lost and is in the middle of troubleshooting this revelation he has come across just now in this that lays on top of the head of this ancient being? What were you doing in that moment? You were wanting to do what now?
I was gonna hold out my arm so Merc can like sort of, if you needed to, go back into Brahmas and he hold the Panacho, but also look at Karsu saying, like, with the look of, should I put it on? Should you put it on? Or should we wait and give it to Shikoma?
Okay. Roll a charisma check. I want to see how humbly you do this.
All right.
It's good stuff, people.
Ah, crap.
Here come the ones. Here they come. It's about time.
Not a one, but a 3, so a total of 5.
Yeah. When you do this,
not so humble.
It's very awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows you. You're anxious and uncertain. And as you hold your hands out to do this, Karsu looks at you and she kind of shakes her head in a blank kind of look of unknowing. And she says, Kill Tusk, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it is meant for someone. I do not want it to interfere with my connection to Yeota while in this place. If you are brave enough to don this panacha, I will help you if I can. Do you think you are ready?
Well, it would help proves the spirits that if the other spirit is not somehow telling the rest that we are not the enemy, and I must put it on.
Okay.
I must, but if it's meant for somebody else when we get out of here, I will be willing to give it up.
Silouan looks at you and she smiles. She goes, I know you'll do the right thing. She looks at you and she goes, maybe it's time that other people pitched in and helped make the Atlati strong again. Shikoma's done her part. Barax will help get us here. You can do this. She takes her helmet off and shows you the wyvern wings on the back. She goes, sometimes you've got to take your worst fear and turn it into your greatest strength, Kill Tusk. She goes, and if I can do it, you can do it. And she smiles.
Bast looks to you and he says, you were chosen to be her guardian. Braxel sent you instead of himself.
She looks over at you and she smiles at you out the side of her head like, "Good play, Bastille." And Silliman's liking you helping.
When he does it, with persuasion of +8 would be a 22, and he
a roll of advantage because she's helping you.
Yeah, we'll go with the 22.
Okay. Swing and a hit. That's all I need. You are being favorably swayed here to step up and be the Atlati warrior.
As he does, he kind of stands and has that elvish tone that he's heard, older elves have that he doesn't have,
Yeah.
The thing people think of when they see elves.
Yeah, that voice. So, you putting this sucker on, or what are you doing, buddy? And when you do hold your arms out with that Mercrin, or not Mercrin, Mercandal, sorry. Wrong game. Right letters, wrong game. What do you think, bud? This sounds like they're wanting you to hand it to him, and he seems like he's ready, but he's young and he's not sure, right? What do you think?
He would definitely be kind of following their lead on this because he doesn't know anything about how they operate, other than just a little bit that he's seen. So if they're kind of giving him the nod of go ahead, he's going to do just that. He's going to hand it over to Kiltusk. And then once Kiltusk takes it, he's going back into Promise to close this thing up.
Okay. When you hand it over, you can hear whispers, Kiltusk, sweeping from around the room and gathering in anticipation or maybe swirling in fear. You can't be certain. And as the weight of this thing lands into your hands, we're going to end tonight's episode. So, when we start up next time, we'll see how all this ends up. Okay? Very interesting stuff. Yeah. Just for the hell of it, roll me a wisdom saving throw before we end.
Remember that natural 20 you saved up? I'd just use it now.
Uh-huh.
We're good. We'll do that.
What? No.
I mean,
no.
Wisdom. Unless, wait, never mind.
What'd you roll?
15. I got an 8, so it'll be a total of 15.
Okay. I thought he was getting ready to say he rolled another 20. I was like, cut.
I was saying, remember you told him that first 20 he rolled, he could save it and use a legendary action with it later.
Well, no, I said he could store it up. He'd have to have more than one. And he used all the other ones for what they're worth. Yeah. So, 15 total?
Yep.
Okay. I'll take that into consideration. All right, guys. With that, we'll go ahead and end tonight's, once again, Brian Kynes. If you watch these and you like them, thank you. We enjoy doing this. This was a cool room. I love designing this. I'm glad we got to this part of the story. Lots more in here, but this was a big one. This was one that I've been kind of waiting for. So with that, let me go ahead and get ready to stop our recording. We'll do our normal bullshit session for a few minutes because we have work tomorrow. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next Sunday. All right? Have a good one, folks.